Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing fantastic. I don't know if it's coming through the microphone. I'm pretty sick, though, still. Sorry for being a little late here. Oh, man. Go, go, go kind of Friday. Got most of my stuff done, though. Only thing I got left after today is to record a Mr. Matty video. Because, yeah, we're going to be talking a lot of PlayStation, and that's going to be no different tomorrow. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you all. Shout out to the early birds like Zensha, Mafia. E. Mitchell became a member while we were not even live, so appreciate you, Mitchell. Thank you for being here. Zombie Maker, Jesse, Josh M. is in the building. We got the Bad Dads here. Mr. Big Daddy's here. Swendog is here. I'm sorry I scared you, Zombie Maker. Yeah, I was just sitting off on a separate tab. Matty, can I get big and hearty? Fuck Snowy. Sony, yeah, you trust me, you'll get more. You'll get more than that. Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I have to manage the energy reserves. I am still pretty sick, so I'm super low energy. That's half the reason why I didn't like crash out during this whole physical games debacle. Is I just am like trying to scratch and claw my way through this godforsaken head cold I have. But we're gonna get it all out today. That's for sure. I'm at least not taking my foot off the gas. What's going on, Wayne Days? LSK, what's going on? Just Marino says, I hate all of this. Yeah, dude. I've always been a believer that, gaming has been pretty great, all things considered. But holy shit, dude. Like, it's really hard to feel up right now. I'll tell you what. I'm going to be sipping on seltzer this whole damn stream, by the way. So just be ready for that. Eli asks, will this make you a PC exclusive player, Matty? It's a good conversation to have. This is, okay, so I don't want to sound like the mega activist, but it really is one of the first times outside of a few moments where I can think like, oh, I have to go full blown the opposite way. Like, Nintendo is my main platform right now physically because they support my purchasing habits enough. I can still buy PS5 games, but I don't feel comfortable doing that until I know my physical copies are going to be not turned into coasters in 2 years. At least with the Switch right now, the Switch 2 specifically, I feel like there's a longer leash on that. Yeah, with game key cards, they're no doubt trending the same way. But it is something that I need to really consider heavily. Storefronts like GOG need to be in my rotation more. That's really important to me. It's like, okay, if digital only is the future, I need to support the storefronts that are going to like let me have the executable. If that's the equivalent of having a physical copy digitally, if you will. Yeah, it's requiring a lot of like viewing of your purchasing habits, and just like I've already been unsubscribed from Game Pass for over a year. I just unsubscribed from PS Plus. And they can get my money back. I'm certainly not that much of a stick in the mud, but they got to start respecting what we're into here. Oh my God, Nerf Ninja, thank you for the drugs. Thank you. I'm going to go do lots of heavy drugs now. I appreciate you. Saw a few cool videos where you can make physical discs with your GOG games. If you ever get into that, it'd be really cool to see you make some content around it. I'll look into that, Wax Panels. Yeah, that's the other thing that I've been thinking about is like, what can I do to signal boost without sounding overly performative? I mean, I have a whole, catalog of videos of me talking about this for like over a decade now. But what can I do while people are listening most to help? And so I'm like, yeah, just devote all your energy to it. Like Retro Rebound, last couple of videos have been about physical games. Here on Mr. Matty, we're talking about it. We're streaming it now. We're going to talk about it more in tomorrow's video. Then there'll be, unless Sony decides to light something on fire again, a couple of days off. I'll probably be back Monday, is what I'm thinking. But yeah, it's crazy to say that like PC gaming right now is respecting your video game ownership more than the places where you can buy physical stuff. It's weird. Yeah, Uncharted Wolf said it beautifully that, like, since Nintendo is so big in Japan, and Japan really cares about their physical stuff still, I feel like Nintendo will hold out much longer, but I'm really pushing that. I don't think they will, but I hope Sony reverses course. You know, a lot of this has been egged on by the overspending of COVID and also just like how bad things have gotten with AI, where like they're just, it's so clear they're trying to create a walled garden and just maximize every dollar that comes in from their first party games. And so even like, I don't know how much they actually lose on printing physical copies, but it's just clearly too much to them. Very disappointing. Noctis, it's good to see you as well. Thanks for being here, man. F Sony, this hobby is at serious risk to become gatekept to the wealthy. PlayStation should be taken to court because they are becoming even more a monopoly. And hey, that's actually part of our... We have 4 stories today. Forgot to mention that as our warm-up. We got 4 stories today. One of them does include this one, that Sony is in the process of being sued already. Being sued doesn't always lead to something, but it is good to see people legally getting involved and trying to... God, this is what I talked about months ago on Defining Duke, is like, you don't want to have to advocate for the law to get involved. Gaming was always very self-regulated, and that's one of the things that was great about it. And I don't think people realize what things can happen when the government gets heavily involved. So, yeah, if they're going to keep taking advantage, though, this stuff is going to happen. Am I the only one happy that discs are being phased out? Yes. Thanks for writing in. It's one thing to say you get it. It's another thing to say you're happy. Sorry, dude. It really makes it tough for me to want to buy a PlayStation 6. You know? Something I never thought I'd really say. Same with the next Xbox. Xbox is a little more acceptable because you could see, like, with Game Pass and stuff, I mean, they just already pushed over the edge with digital. It was a matter of time. But Sony doing it, yeah, dude, just, like, completely out of fucking nowhere, I felt. I don't know if people agree with that. I never really shared those thoughts. I don't know if you guys agree. Did you feel like it was just out of nowhere, too? Like, and when I say out of nowhere, I don't mean, like, I never saw the day that physical would die coming. I mean, it came out of nowhere in that just, like, this week, now, middle of the PS5 generation, now, like, what? You just, like, leading into the PS6, you want this many years of bad PR? I guess there's no good time to do it, but crazy week. Crazy week. Yeah, I agree on Charred Wolf. Digital bros are in for a rude awakening when their games never go on sale. Yeah, dude, like, the thing is, I'm not being level-headed with a lot of people online when they come at me and they're like, oh, bro, you were like, I hope you keep this energy with Xbox. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, just stop. I'm not tolerating idiots this time around. I usually give a pass to idiots online because there's just so many that it's like, you know what? I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes. I'm not going to talk down, but like, this is one of those moments. It's like, if you're going to show up and say stupid things, you're going to win stupid prizes, right? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I'm trying to come from an educational standpoint of like, dude, I hope people understand what's at risk. It's not just people like me who just love to, you know, oh, remember driving home and reading the manual? Like, that was a huge part of it. No doubt about it. But like, it goes beyond ownership. It's just, you're in one storefront now. That is awful for you. Even if you don't give a fuck, you have not realized the cascading consequences that can happen from this point. I really thought with PS6 doing apparently some type of external disk drive thing, a detachable disk drive, that's the word I was looking for. I thought we'd at least get, like Uncharted Wolf saying, one more generation. Just, I feel bad for the secondhand market, dude. They got to be panicking. Like, all these stores I went to in Florida, I'm going to talk about it in a video on Retro Rebound probably next week. Just some of the pickups I made, it's just like, those things are, like, I can't process that. Like, those stores might be a thing of the past or extremely rare. Like the last Blockbuster type rare where it's like one place, one community that's particularly interested in this one thing. I really worry about that when there's no longer a flow of games coming in. You know, like, it's always about the older games. That's what keeps them in business. But it's also about getting current things. Like, you can look at some of my haul videos on Retro Rebound. Like, when I was in Seattle, I bought a bunch of PS5 things for, like, dirt cheap. So that's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them a lot. And the whole, trolling of GameStop has now cascaded into now all these other stores. And by trolling, I mean literally like, oh, look, they're going to go out of business. They're panicking because of where the industry's going. It's like, no one ever thought about how this affects smaller stores. There will be no reason to own a console by next gen, paying a small price of entry to be locked down to one store with 90% less functionality than PC. Yeah, this is a really good point. Yeah, like, I'm not even, like, the PC guy, but this is a really good point that, like, you're going to pay a premium, be locked to one storefront with a particular type of price that is going to be dictated by them. And the only thing here that works in their favor is exclusives. But are exclusives good enough nowadays when games are everywhere and constantly releasing? I really do think Xbox and PlayStation, like, if they thought this whole generation's been a wake-up call, it's about to get worse. Zombie Maker, I feel like we're getting to the point where physical copies will be pre-order exclusive, or pre-order Fallout 5 and get a physical disc copy. I also think it might go the boutique sort of vinyl route, like way after the fact we'll do a limited print. Like, that's why I think limited run might be okay, because I think they might find a way, especially if there's this detachable disc drive. Like, I think they'll hang on a little bit longer, but axing like 20 to 30% of your consumer base like that and forcing them into a way of buying things because your bottom line's hurting a little bit, sounds like you should assess other parts of the business. That's just me. I knew physical was on a timer. I was perfectly accepting of next gen being the last gen, in fact, but this was a complete rug pull. Okay, yeah, so you were ready for it. I think a lot of us were on the same page. Like, we knew it was coming, but, like, it had to be at the right time and with the right practices in place, at least in my opinion. I think a lot of this would be easier to stomach if they tackled, like, how are you going to own your video games? We've got answers for that. How are we going to handle PS3 and Vita games carrying forward? We've got answers for that. I think if they had those two answers, my whole response and many others would be different. But right now, it just looks like you don't give a fuck. You took it all away from us. It's done. It's done, and you own less, especially after you just took people's movies away. And also, we had this big DRM scare, and we could see how quickly we can lose our stuff. I remember, like, PlayStation fanboys getting up in my grill about that, being like, yo, bro, the fuck, man? Like, see, it was such a nothing burger. And I'm like, look what happened a couple weeks later. Look how quickly it changes. Some people aren't just reacting enough, I think. JPlays, thank you for your super chat. So many people don't understand that less options equals bad/worse consumer protections. I won't be in line for a PS6. Yeah, dude. Yeah, like, I think people really need, like, this is one of those moments where you just really got to vote with your wallet. Like, you really got to think about your purchasing habits. I'm not saying a full boycott, because I get it. Like, we all just want to play games at the end of the day. That's what this all comes down to. So I'm not saying, like, never buy a PlayStation game. But am I thinking twice about it? Yeah. Like, if I can get it on the Switch right now, I'm getting it on the Switch. I don't give a fuck about my trophies. Don't give a fuck about my achievements. I want to put my money in the pockets of Nintendo, of all fucking places, dude. Like, Nintendo sucks. You kidding me? RPG Shactics. I love your name, dude. I've said this a million times, but thank you for your super chat, bro. Oh, we got another one from you. Companies putting financially illiterate people in debt is the real world version of Assassin's Guild. Very profitable off of killing vulnerable people. Yeah, dude, like the whole Xbox, like, saying, like, oh, interest free, purchase your consoles. Like, people, like, dude, people are gonna go buy groceries. Shut the fuck up. Why'd they do it now instead of saying PS6 is all digital? I didn't think next gen would have physical. If Sony raises digital prices, people will move to PC. I think because Sony themselves control so much of, like, Blu-ray production that this is letting basically everyone know you're going digital too, and giving them time, their partners, time to prepare for what it's going to be. A lot of developers, as we'll talk about with some of our stories here, have expressed their disappointment, which I think is really important in this as well. Publishers are talking. I think that's also really important. I like that Bethesda fucking clapped back a little bit and said, like, hey, full game on cart. I don't care if Oblivion Remaster runs like shit now, you know, to a certain degree. But I'm saying, like, they listened. They went full game on cart when it was code in box, and, like, or it was a game key card. I thought that was a good decision. Certainly got my money. But going to all digital now, I'm guessing it's, like, based on partners. Pardon me. The PS6 for $1,199. I'm thinking probably more. With the amount of money they're spending now, trying to R&D and then produce this thing, I'm thinking it'll be more. I'm thinking closer to 15. Because I think they'll be more powerful than the Steam machine, and that was closing in without a controller, like almost 1,500. 1,500 with tax, right? So I would say this is an optimistic price at times. Chief Adam, lost access to my PS5 account for 6 months when Rebirth launched. PSN is too unstable. I'm honestly more comfortable going all digital with Helix. This will be key. This will be key. PSN security. Huge exploits there. You know, my good friend Colin Moriarty lost his account almost, and that would have been all his trophies, all his digital library, it all would have been gone. And that's everything to a lot of people. That would have put Colin out of gaming. I think that would put a lot of people out of gaming. It's like you just lost thousands of dollars in investment into like a single place, a single thing. If PlayStation wants to go all digital, that's another thing. Number 3 on their list they should have confronted. Like, what are you doing to ensure your accounts are secure? Okay, you have all my games, basically. It's not like in my house where I lock the door and I got stuff to protect it. What are you doing to keep these libraries on lockdown? I'd love to know. With all the studio closures, could this be good for studios? Of the plus 20% physical sales, how many get passed around and devs get $0 from that? Okay, I think this is totally Greek Thunder. What you're saying is entirely fair, but I do think what a lot of people are missing is a bigger picture here. Word of mouth is so much of what makes games succeed. And that does mean some people get it for free, if you will. You might have a friend who plays this game and loves it, and yeah, like your example here, passes it over. It gets traded in afterwards. Someone else buys it off the secondhand market, right? Like, these are tons of players, but those players are commenters, writers, creators, connected to other gamers who will tell them about this game, and maybe that'll net a purchase. I understand why people are looking at it and saying, but more money for them. But number one, that value's not passed on to you. It's not like games are going to get cheaper. They're still going to continue to wave around this whole, oh, game budget's so tough argument. And so when it comes to this type of stuff, I think it's a necessary evil, if you want to call it that, in gaming, that as the hobby grew, I mean, what's word of mouth now? Reels, TikToks, shorts, videos, streams. You see a thing, you could watch a whole game for free. For over a decade now, when YouTube started to do like 10+ minute uploads and really push watch time, for over a decade, you've been able to watch every video game you've ever been interested in. But why do you buy it? Why do you want to own it? Because you give a fuck. Because you want to play it. Because it's about your experience. So, and then you share that. It's just like gaming is very special in that way. So I totally get this argument. I get why people at face value look at it and go like, yo, like, this is good for their survival. And you could argue, yeah, like every sale on a PlayStation console now goes straight to them. No ifs, ands, or buts if you're digital only, right? And sure, there's pros that come with that, like I said, but I feel for true explosiveness, you got to be there for everyone. That much has been apparent for a while. Known for BS. Thank you for your super chat. Want to show my thanks for your video on Bethesda games on Switch 2. Them going from code and box to physical for Oblivion shows it helped in some ways. Just doing our part, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for the super chats. Thanks for supporting what we got going on here. Technically, I just want to play it, not own it. Why wouldn't you want to own it, Death Proof? I want to like question the chat a little bit. Like I like you guys have questions for me, but for those of you who don't care about owning it, why? Why do you not want to own it compared to other things in your life that you own? And I mean, it could be just like a detachment style, like you're not quote materialistic end quote. It could be a number of things, but I'm curious how some of you don't want to own these things. Oh, Death Proof says I don't give a shit. Fair enough. No debating that. If you can't force someone to give a fuck. Hmon, I did not see Louis Rossman's video. I actually don't know who that is, to tell you the truth. I could if rent was possible. Okay, Death Proof, I get that. Yeah, I get that. That makes more sense. Space, my kids, my sons. Okay. More personal matters then. I think that's understandable. Space is one of the more respectable arguments, you know. I'm very lucky to have enough space to have these two bookshelves here that like keep and they rotate and they keep all my games. I still get rid of some. I'm purging over 130 games, but I totally get space. Kids is one thing that I would argue, like, you can pass these games down to your kids. Show them the cool experiences you've had. That same, I saw a tweet, it was awesome. It was like the same PlayStation disc that someone played when they were a kid was passed on to their kid, and they were playing a game off of that. And like, that's what it's all about. It's awesome. Sorry if this is a repeat question. I just jumped in. Do you think their complete silence since the announcement might reverse the decision, even in the foreseeable future? I'm not giving up. I'll say that. I'm not hoping, but I'm not giving up. As in, I think... Look, there is something to be said about... When I say literally everybody, on every major platform, news outlets... Like, Gene Park was on CNN talking about this. So news outlets... of not just gaming, but just general news outlets, food chains, content creators, short streamers, everybody shitting on you, saying you killed not only this, but gaming culture. It's a heavy price to pay. That optical loss is far worse than I think what Xbox was doing with the DRM shit with the Xbox One. You know, they've been trying this for a while, and I think it's just a matter of putting your money where your mouth is. Yeah, we saw that there was a little boost in their stocks by 3%, dude, but who gives a fuck when consumer trust is low? And people, like, obviously it's good for shareholders, like, oh, we're gonna make more money off this, I'm gonna invest in you now. Cool. Keep telling yourself that as they struggle to sell $1,500 consoles and $80 video games at a walled garden. And that's going to lead to less game sales, no? How are exclusives going to do on that platform? I thought the problem was that game budgets were too high and we needed to sell more copies. It's not consistent. So that's why I think there is always a level, always, like, some type of level of, like, they could walk back. Will they? 95% chance not. Could they? I'm not giving up until it's truly over. Until January 2028, it's truly over. I won't give up. Can you believe it happened this early? No more discs is crazy. Makes me super sad for the future of gaming. Damn, just damn. I agree, Dave Wonder. Imagine a prototype 3, not physical. That's special. Starting Monster Hunter 3 Stories, or Monster Hunter Stories 3 tonight. Capcom's killing it. Yeah, I've heard great things about this one. I didn't have time to play it this year, but it's a series I want to look into at some point down the road. I got a lot of other JRPGs I want to play. Riot and Respect. Thank you again for the super chat. Owning is important to me, but I switched to PC about a year ago, so all my current games are digital anyway. It's about principle to me. I can respect that, yeah. I think if people are aware of what they're doing, that's fine. I think the people who are like, yo, bro, why does it even matter? I'm like, then you're not paying attention. And there is a way to own on PC. You know, it's not the same, but there is a way, and GOG kind of does that, so it's possible. It just, you know, again, really needs to... Just digital storefronts, man, they freak me the fuck out. Always have. Only times I remember when they first started to come around with, like, the Xbox 360 marketplace, the only time I hopped into there was to get games that were exclusive there, like State of Decay. I'd be fine with digital if they allow customers to have a physical copy, period, to download if the license expires or something like that. Yeah, some way to pass on ownership. That needs to be visited by Sony. They can keep their fucking digital-only push, but, like, they got to figure out a way to let us know, like, we're not going to take this away from you. Like, I could go off a lot. See, the thing is, like, already with the C-bomb stuff, it's like, I don't think they really want you to. But if I was able to, you know, just go offline, that was mine. Like, I didn't have to do a PSN check-in or any of that shit. That's truly owning it. Zensha. I feel bad for people who never got to experience a midnight launch. Going to Halo 3 was one of the best experiences of my life. Yeah, dude. That's the culture loss in this all. You know? Like, that is the true culture loss. Like, pardon me. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of that this stream, by the way, because I'm drinking seltzer only. But so many people are going to... Like, we already look back at those, like, midnight launch videos and just think back and think, oh, man, you know, what great times. And I always appreciated it, but like, I think it's going to be more so now. But there's going to be a whole generation that just looks at it and goes, you guys waited outside stores. You were like that excited. And it like genuinely, truly, no exaggeration, makes me so sad that there's going to be people who don't know what that feeling was like. You know, the fact that like maybe my last console midnight release was the Switch 2. I mean, that's the main reason I went out at midnight, because I was like, I don't know how many more of these I get. I talked about that a little bit in a video. But midnight releases, dude, just like, it gets me a little emotional thinking about it. Like, it's just such a formative, important thing. Like, it is for gaming culture. Like, waiting in anticipation with people you don't know, and just knowing you're all going home after this and doing the same thing in like your own little pockets of the world. I just think that's so cool. But also, being excited for things is good. Like, the anticipation is good. I don't think everything should be immediate now. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's just, it makes me, that's the saddest part of it all, I think. Really bums me out. Digital isn't a problem, or PC would have turned shit ages ago. Sony's problem is a bad refund policy and inability to buy codes from other stores. They did talk about codes with retailers. Again, this is stuff they got to detail. I don't know right now, so I don't care. But I think digital is a big part of the problem. It's just not physical. Like, as in, it's literally not, like, I can't pick it up like this. Like, it's not something you own yet. Once they figure that out, sure. Remer? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Thank you for your super chat. Even though PS5 discs are mainly just physical keys for games, just having disc versions for games gives you the option of buying games cheaper. Without discs, good luck buying games for cheaper. Hey, I got you, actually. Let me show you something cool that really shows that what you're talking about is a lie fed to you. Let me bring this up. Here we go. So, I don't want to spill this seltzer. Which one is it? Sorry, I haven't done this in a while. Nope, that's my gameplay one. There we go. Okay, so we're on Does It Play. What they do is they test all different types of games and see if they're fully on disc. They play them offline, unpatched. Spider-Man 2, they'll test that on PS5. And you'll see here, offline play yes is download required no with an asterisk, which means minor content missing or a lot of bugs present with a patch that is recommended. And they'll kind of describe the issues that they include. Now, Platinum is beatable, unpatched, but I've played Spider-Man 2 unpatched. It's pretty tough at times. So anyway, this is a team that does really, really important work, I think. The reason I brought this up is because here on the bottom right, let me hide the chat for just one moment here, just so you can see it. Right here, statistics. They have 3,400 plus entries. And so if I wanted to see PS4 games, 92% of them allow offline play. So to your super chat, discs aren't just keys. Most have the content on them. Now, 73% don't require a download, which is almost 3/4 of them, which I think is a pretty strong ratio. Again, suggesting most of these games do not need you to download anything. So, you know, I'm just saying, man, I think a lot of people fell for what is a lot of bullshit online. I don't blame them. It's kind of been handed to you over and over. The same talking points, but at least according to stats there from people who do play through these games offline, many video games do not require you to be online. Here's Star Fox. Offline play. Yep, you're good. Flawless gameplay performance through both routes and maintain a lock 60 per second. Battle mode is gray out and unsupported, so it cannot be tested on the cart build. If in an attempt to click on battle mode, option is a version mismatch message appears. In the day one update, Nintendo made some fixes for bugs. Like, they just very, very, very thorough stuff. Content completed. So offline, you can do both paths. Credits rolled only if you defeat Dr. Andross's true form, and the hard path. Venom 1 completed once and 2 completed twice. All levels tested, including Middle Path, sampled mission mode at Corneria City, Metro, Solar. Completed entirely in handheld mode. In order to access battle mode, a 1.5 gigabyte download and internet connection is required. So you can look at this and know what exactly you're getting physically. So, again, just know, like, I get it, but also I get why people think that, but a lot of these aren't just keys. I missed a couple of super chats. I apologize, guys. Hang on. Zbat, thank you for your super chat. That was the one I missed. Ice Cap Lord, here we go. This especially sucks because until 2 days ago, PlayStation 5 was undisputedly the best console for physical preservation of games being complete on disc. As I was saying, completely agree. All digital is cheaper for Sony to make. They should cost less for the consumer with lack of printing and manufacturing and all of that, but we know they'll all be $80 by next gen. Cooked industry. Yeah, like that's another thing. Is like you're not even passing the value on. There is no balance in the conversation right now because you're not passing anything on to the consumer. You're not saying like, okay, because we can make these for cheaper now, we're back to 70 or we're keeping 70 or we're going to 60. They're going to say, oh, wait, but what if we sold them for the same, even higher price with the current budgets and we got all that money? You know, it's shit, dude. Gamer Chat Podcast, thank you. Maddie, I paid €8 for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare for the Plat on PSN. It's €70, 11, or on PSN, it's €70 and it's an 11-year-old game, by the way. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is what I talked about to open the video, bro. Like, so bad. So bad. Thinking about all the games that won't get a disc is brutal, but this one really stings for me. God of War Trilogy Remake. That might if it comes out by next year. You know, there's a chance. But it's just like, it's just going after stores, bro. Like, Best Buy, like, what are they going to do? I mean, they have tons of, like, other tech, but I'm just saying, like, they sell a ton of movies and DVDs and Blu-rays and games. And this is, like, deadly shit by PlayStation. Game discs I own don't last long in my belongings. It's an experience to me, not a physical product. GOG or high C's for ownership. Drives greater than CDs. As people have been saying lately, if buying isn't owning, it ain't stealing then. I don't blame people anymore if they've lost their patience. Not saying I'm going to do it myself because I don't rock like that. I want to support the devs, but I don't blame people for thinking that way now. PC is digital only, but preservation is infinitely easier on PC. You should buy your games, but piracy is always an option. Look at everyone sailing the seas, man. It's crazy. What's going on here? Do you think third-party studios could still do collector's editions for next gen? Maybe with a code? Yeah, I could see a world where there are some. It's just about, like, why? Okay, PS6. Physical copy only. I'm sorry, PS6 a digital edition only. There's no disc drive whatsoever. Why are you making a physical copy for it? The only thing you can hold out for is that because the PS6 is such a marginal increase compared to the PS5, that people will continue to make physical copies for the PS5, and your last gen versions at the time will have physical support. That's, like, I think the best you can hope for, you know? Do you think Xbox ever considered nurturing their own talent rather than spending hundreds of millions on lawyers to deceive the FTC on acquisitions only to shut those studios down and lay people off? Yeah, didn't they also say when talking to the FTC, they were like, yeah, dude, like, we're not gonna do any of that. We're gonna really embrace them. I'd like to say they considered it. I'd like to say this was a big part of their thought process because they tried to with companies like The Initiative. You know, they tried. Did a horrible job. Obviously, game didn't come out. Shut the studio down. Like, just years of money just flushed down the toilet for nothing. Huge failure. So I think they recognize they are bad at this and they need to go buy things that can run themselves and just inherit it into the business. But they've also they've torn Bethesda apart. They're going to continue that on Monday. Activision's going to get plucked apart. They're all getting stripped for parts. You know, Bethesda's just going to be Fallout and Elder Scrolls after probably another 5 years. That's all it's going to be. My heavy nostalgia and anti-corpo beliefs are really combining some deep sadness with this announcement. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I don't blame people for feeling like legitimately sad about this. It's an emotional time. Like, it really is. Like, this is people's all they know. Like, this is the way they bought games. This is the way they shared the hobby. This is the way they gathered. This was social events to them. It's so much more than just buying and owning. It really is. It's culture. It really is. I wonder how long it'll be until PlayStation reconsiders a PC-compatible client. I do not see the 6 selling well. That's what I was just saying earlier. I was like, I don't know what the plan is when you're selling $1,500 consoles, $80 games, walled garden approach, and you're like, it's more expensive than ever to make video games. Cool. Gotcha. So, how are you staying in business exactly then? Sell your games to everybody then if it's really that tough. That's the thing. I've been saying this for years, that they're targeting everything but game budget, and it's for an obvious fucking reason. It's like, sometimes I don't even believe it's a real problem for some of these companies. They're just trying to maximize their dollar. It's also a lot of other things. Executives are clearly calling shots creatively on things that they think will do well, i.e. I think of Suicide Squad from the Batman Arkham team. It's like, yeah, put them on a live product. That'll do fucking great because spreadsheets. But for them, on a creative level and a capability level, we saw the results. Fucking terrible. So, you know, oh man, sorry, my neck was tight. Pissing me off, dude. But yeah, I'm sure they'll eventually do a launcher of some kind that exists on other platforms. I feel like they have to. If they have their own storefront, if this is all driven through a storefront, could see a world where it comes to PC. F Sony, I'm done with the brand. Cheers. Hashtag F Sony DD. Yeah, a little Defiant Duke love. We appreciate that. Radic in the building. Let's go. Radic, did you see Retro Rebound? I gave you a little love on there, bro. Yo, Radic is the PS3 guru. I was looking at his Twitter account. I'm like, I consider myself pretty knowledgeable about like getting around the PS3 and stuff. But like when he put out this thing where he's like, yeah, by the way, if you buy classics like here, they're cheaper and they carry over when they come to PS Plus. I'm like, this fucking guy. Yeah, dude, Radic. First guy I thought of when I saw PS3 and Vita. Not even myself. I thought of you because I think of all the posts you make, dude. So I hope you're doing all right, bro. We got to get together and talk about this at some point because it's a really sad time. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, and there are many physical collectors in the space. Rip to their hobby as well, just to add to it. Yeah, yeah, dude. I haven't even really thought about special editions. Like, is the new version of the new version of physical games like buying statues now? Is that like where we're at? Think about it. Like the most physical you can get from a game is like, I bought the exclusive statue. Come on. My pleasure, Radic. Love you, dude. Chief Adam. Double Fine would be a good fit for Nintendo. Yeah, probably, but like, I mean, Nintendo's doing a good job. Like, look, the thing I'll give Nintendo credit for, Gene Park brought this to my attention. The thing I'll give Nintendo credit for is that games like Xenoblade Chronicles do not light the world on fire. Sorry, this is going to be a problem. All stream, as I said, this seltzer's going to kill me, but I need it. Xenoblade Chronicles doesn't light the world on fire. You could even argue like Fire Emblem doesn't, and by that I mean like it sells well, it's popular, hardcore gamers know it, but like mainstream Mario and Zelda level shit, no. That's okay to them. Truly. Things like Xenoblade can sell 1 million or 2 copies, which is great for their budget, and they can just keep going and making more Xenoblade. That's awesome. So, can Nintendo inherit more of that stuff? I think all these companies are reducing spending, so I don't see many suitors for these Xbox studios outside of Undead Labs. Time will tell. Just say no to the Tech Bros. This is a great name. I wish we had a better way to share digital games. My best friend and I are on a Nintendo family account, but can share virtual cards because we aren't in the same location. Give us something. Yeah, there's got to be a give and take here. Like, if you're going to go all digital, there's got to be a way to maintain that culture, that shareability, that gaming thrives off of. Like, the reason it's the fucking business it is today is because you can share shit. It pisses me off, dude. Like, what we were talking about earlier, where someone's like, well, you know, people lose money when, like, you're buying games from secondhand stores. I'm like, that copy gets shared all over the fucking world, dude. Like, it can enable so many more people becoming fans of your series, looking forward to that next entry, buying games under that developer label or publishing label. Like, it can lead to so much more. Shareability is everything. When you go digital and everyone's in their own little fucking silos, these games are going to suffer. No doubt about it. Yeah, I didn't even... Persona 6, it's cooked, Zensha. Absolute abysmal dog shit. Dave Wonder says, just another super chat for you. Love supporting the stream for you, my guy. Can you save your game as 3D or 2D? Maybe, please. You'd think that'd be an easy answer. I'll just leave it at that. Thank you for your interest, though. And thank you, Dave, for always being supportive. I appreciate you, bro. No details from me. How are we feeling? Let's get into our first slop. We're going to stay on topic here. We got 2 PlayStation slops, and we got 2 Xbox slops. Intergalactic might not be physical. Yeah, I mean, if people even give a fuck at that point, like, people are so anti-Naughty Dog, it's crazy. I'm getting all my links up. Yeah, let's get cozy. We're gonna talk about PlayStation for a long fucking time. I want to make sure, like, anyone who just taps in, like, yo, let me see this Matty stream. Like, it's just a barrage of just, like, fuck these guys for, like, hours. It's the least I could do. Same shit, same energy when Xbox is fucking us sideways. Just endless fuck these guys energy. Pirate versus buying is a false choice. Buy the digital, support the dev, and pirate for ownership. Saves a lot of space, and you have backups. Oh, man. I just love how casual... I think it's hilarious how casual people are about it. Like, I saw, like, people responding to the Spider-Man movie promotion just going, like, yo ho ho, yar har har, because, like, they're just trolling Sony. They're like, you're fucked, bro. Like, it's all on you now. Okay. Oh, man. There we go. It's hot as fuck in here, dude. I don't have an AC in here, and it's like 100 degrees out, so... Oh. Let me pause the music. Let's do this. Let's slop it up a bit, shall we? Okay. Let's do our check. Make sure we're all good. Okay, we're nice and centered here. Oh yeah, we're going through all the responses today, might I add. Yep, $1 billion lawsuit. Surprise. Look what else we're going to be talking about here. What's this? Oh, yes. High Guard has found its way into the way. Oh, yes, even this game. Oh, and then a follow-up. Yes. Okay, everything's nice and centered. Show love to Matty and fuck Sony. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. I'll take your money. You don't gotta give it to Sony. I'm kidding, but thank you for real. Got rid of my PS5 Pro and pre-ordered Oblivion for Switch 2. GG to whoever got Bethesda put on cartridge. Matty, I hope the port is good. Dude, you saw how choppy that shit was. I'm not saying it's gonna be great, but I am saying I'm buying it anyway. Bethesda needs to know. They need to hashtag know. They need to hashtag realize. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to spam your meat emojis right over here, whether they be the member ones or the free ones, whatever. We're just happy to have you throwing the meat in the chat. Let's do this. I got my notes up, and let's do a little slop. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the ultimate slop. It doesn't get sloppier than this. PlayStation killing physical games. But not only that, what we're really focusing on today is PlayStation's absolute, not just killing, but they murdered gaming culture. As we've talked about across, I can't even track all these conversations I've had. I've talked to friends. It's like we all lost a loved one. You know, that's what it's been like here. But across all these conversations, a lot of the reflections have come back to the gaming culture. Yes, there's a lot about this with ownership. That is a huge part of this, buying something and owning it. but it's really about the culture of preservation, of being able to look at gaming history, to pull a game off your shelf 20 years down the line and to re-experience that or pass it on to someone else so they can experience it, creating new fans. That type of culture dies with this move that PlayStation's making, which for those who have been under a rock, who haven't been online, yeah, PlayStation ceasing all physical game production by January 2028. A move that, for those who are wondering why I'm going to keep my foot on their throat, I'm just, yeah, you can call it hopium, copium, whatever. I'm not giving up until the bell rings. I hope they reverse course. Do I think they will? No, there's a story in here that makes me think otherwise, but let's talk about the games industry reaction. I know all of you feel mostly the same as I do, which is just like, fuck these guys, right? But I'm curious what the pros are saying here. And so what we have is a roundup thanks to gamesindustry.biz, where it says game companies express dismay at the end of PlayStation disc production. And there's a whole lot in here. A whole lot of companies that really do serve the gaming collecting culture that have expressed how disappointed they are. Let's read the obituaries, dude. That's basically what we're doing. I Am 8-Bit says in a statement to gamesindustry.biz, the co-owners and creative directors John Gibson and Amanda White say, "We are profoundly disappointed by Sony's decision to suspend physical game production in 2028. Physical games are vital to game preservation, ownership, and consumer choice, values that have guided I Am 8-Bit since our first physical release in 2016. Our commitment to these values remains unchanged. Long live physical media." The thing that I'm wondering, like many of you, is, of course, like, what are these companies going to do? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's continue just the absolute onslaught of disappointment, right? None of these people raging out quite like I am, but a lot of just disappointed dad energy. Like, what? How about Atari? Atari's been doing a lot of great collections here. They highlight here. They did a collector's edition of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, The Thing Remastered. Also, they are doing a Toy Story remaster. And this is important because they teamed up to do a physical release for that. So Toy Story 3's remaster is being preserved. So are all the retro roundup games. So like companies such as Atari doing physical is preserving old media that's extremely expensive or hard to find or hard to play, putting it on current platforms and then giving you a physical way to play them. So they're also really important in this conversation. We remain committed to game preservation and creating products for fans for whom collecting physical editions is an important part of their gaming experience, along with physical items that allow them to celebrate their favorite games, the firm told gamesindustry.biz. We strive to make the games we develop and publish as accessible as possible, which includes distributing physical editions whenever feasible. As the market evolves, we'll continue to explore new and compelling ways to satisfy collector demand. I love this. I love this energy. Don't give up. I know it's going to take more than these companies, but I like that no one's giving up. That makes me very happy to see. Silver Lining Interactive. This is a new one. Manchester-based Silver Lining Interactive often issues physical versions of its games after digital release. Founder Luke Karen describes this as a highly profitable part of their business. Quote, "We do not only have a very, very strong retail market, but a wholesale market as well," he told us earlier this year. Day one purchases are becoming more difficult for retail, but the catalog business is still extremely strong, which is exactly why PlayStation wants them out. Secondhand purchases hurt them. How many games have you picked up on sale at a used game store? Even GameStop. It's okay to admit it. I haven't shopped at GameStop in a while outside of the memes. Like when I'm talking legit, like I want to buy a game. It's been ages. So ignoring my whole Retro Rebound series for a moment. But all of us have bought used games at some point. That deal is so nice. And they want that out of your life so that they can keep the price the same. Have you seen how Nintendo games function? How long it takes for them to go on sales. And when they happen, your biggest discount is, oh, it went from $60 to $50. Yeah. Do you want that life for all these platforms? That's what you're inviting in. That's why you got to keep fighting. If a game does well on digital, it normally does well at retail. In a statement shared to LinkedIn, the company said it was obviously disappointed by the news and highlighted that there is still a large community of customers who still prefer and cherish their physical game collections. We are working with PlayStation to understand exactly how this transition will be implemented and what it means for independent publishers. While we seek clarity on the future, we want to offer absolute certainty about the present. The policy will not impact our existing library. The industry landscape is still settling after this announcement, but whatever form the future takes, Silver Lining Interactive is committed to both our developer partners and players. We will keep physical media available for as long as players want it. It concluded saying, We firmly believe in giving our community a choice wherever viable, and will continue working hard to deliver games in both digital formats and physical boxes, whether that means a disc, a cartridge, a key card, a code in a box. Yes, slow down with those last two, please. It is time for us to put our creative hats on to see how we can continue bringing games to physical. So, okay, solution-oriented. Getting a little carried away there saying a physical counts even if it's code in box or game key card. Not quite. Figure it out. Lost in Cult. What do they have to say? They make amazing video game books, by the way. They do publish some physical editions of indie games, too. They say, as a company on a mission to preserve video games, we are deeply saddened by the recent news from PlayStation on ending physical discs, they said in a statement. We aim to do everything in our power to preserve video games to the best of our ability and will continue to do so for as long as we can. A lot of this is very bleak at the same time. I like that they're still fighting, but a lot of this is like, we're fighting till the end. We'll figure that out. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. The only one who said so far, like, we're talking to PlayStation and trying to just figure it out, has been Silverline. So we'll see. We'll see. How about Limited Run? They were the first ones that came to mind for me. Obviously, we know Limited Run. They say Sony's decision to move fully digital marks the end of an era, and we understand why the math points that way for a platform holder at that scale. We have spent a decade alongside the fans and collectors who kept this flame alive long before us, proving that people still want to hold their games, to own them outright, and to keep them on a shelf for good. We are not slowing down either. So what I'm interested in for all these companies not slowing down is, what exactly is the answer here? What exactly are you going to do to keep this going? Again, my theory has been, if the PS6 is a marginal leap forward, like maybe you don't get PS6 physical copies, but a lot of games for a while are going to be shipping cross-gen. So what's ending in 2028 for Sony might end in like 2030 for others, because you'll have that cross-gen period. Pardon me. Emmett, you'll have to cut that one out. If it's cross-gen though, for if it's cross-gen like what we got for this generation, physical is going to be around a little while longer than I think we anticipate, because then you'll have PS5 games up until fucking like 2035. You know, we have Call of Duty just starting to drop PS4 support. It's crazy. Let's keep going. Strictly Limited writes, in a statement to GamesIndustry.biz, head of business unit Sasha Hoffman-Nowak said physical editions are highly relevant when it comes to ensuring players' ownership and preserving video game as a part of cultural heritage. So I'm talking about, bro, it's about heritage. It's about culture. We'll continue to releasing PS5 games physically for as long as possible, and we'll continue publishing physical editions of games regardless of the platform they appear on. Even if those platforms evolve, we do have a different approach to physical editions, such as releases in place. I wonder if there's ever a world where like you could do re-releases of old games, like do a new print run for like team up with Konami and do a new PS1 print run for Silent Hill. I don't know. I think every idea's got to be on the table right now, you know? I really think it does. Then we have the Video Game History Foundation. They say, from the perspective of a professional preservationist, this doesn't have as much of an impact as you might expect. This is coming from the director themselves. The reality is that the vast majority of video games produced over the last 2 decades were not made for a dedicated home video game console, let alone pressed to physical media. And even when they were released on physical media, a day one digital patch was all but guaranteed, meaning that even though a disc is preserving data in an accessible way, it may not represent the game that people actually played. He added, what continues to baffle us is what the industry expects institutions like ours to do about it. If platform owners are deciding to eliminate physical media and older digital storefronts, then we'd like to see trade groups like the ESA offer meaningful solutions for archives and museums to legally preserve digital-only content and make it accessible for research. This is a big part of the conversation here. I talked about this a little bit on stream, but it's relevant once more here. Let's go to one of my favorite websites in Does It Play? Does It Play shows here, if I select from this drop-down bar, PS5, all these games here, you can see 94% of their games are eligible for online or offline play. 66% of 773 games on PS5 would not require a download, so over half. On PS4, a much bigger library, 73%. So many games are still available offline to play. There are situations like I was showing on stream here. We have Star Fox here. They show here on Does It Play that battle mode is inaccessible. So they can play the entire paths of the story mode here, but in order to access battle mode, they say a 1.5 gigabyte downloaded internet connection is required for access. So it's not perfect, but I think there are people who are weird like me will see this and go, okay, so I can access the part of the game I care most about. Sorry, I need a sip of water here. Trying to do this while sick. It's a challenge, man. It's a challenge. All right, let's continue. So when we go back to what the Video Game History Foundation is saying and taking a genuine look at what's going on here, it is about preservation of the biggest successes, the mediocre middle of the line stuff, the games that blur together, the indie hits, the indie gems, and even the biggest of flops. Yeah, let's bring up some games that I know for a fact you don't care about. Let's talk, though. Destruction All-Stars is now available offline. Most modes will be gone by November. This game's gradually getting erased. So there are some games like this. This was a 2021 launch era PlayStation 5 game you may have forgotten about. There are certain games that are being dissected for parts. This is one example. And yeah, people kind of just, they didn't feel anything about it. But should it go away forever? Here's where I might ruffle some feathers. I feel the same way about High Guard. This is the only game in 2026 thus far that I've had a negative review for. And even that, I called it kind of just middle of the road, inoffensive, like it's mid. That's really it. But I wasn't like Concord levels, it's bad. But I look at High Guard, I'm like, I would love for that to be around so developers coming into the industry don't have to watch videos, but can like play this game and understand like what made it mid, what made it interesting for some people, what made it bad for a lot of people. I think that's important. When we're erasing that stuff and it's just instantly inaccessible. This game came out and got delisted in the same year in a like 3-month span. And I don't think it's a game that I'm saying hold on to it forever because this matters. I love this game. But I do think that being able to preserve that type of media is super important for the history of the art. Like that is what it's there for. And to really rub salt in some of your wounds, I feel the same way about Concord. It got a physical release and they immediately tried to rip it off store shelves and it became this highly sought after item. And that physical edition is nothing more than, you know, a coaster. But when they took this game down, I'm like, yeah, dude, this is another one where I talked about this in my interview with Mark Dara, where we both agreed that like these games should stay around in a sense of like not PlayStation has to pay for them, but they should be preserved in some way. Pardon me. They should be preserved in some way where you can still study them if you're a developer. I think that's the value that this game provides. It's awful. I don't like Concord at all. I don't care about it as a player, but should it be preserved as one of the most historic flops we've seen in our industry's history? Absolutely. 1,000%. There's no doubt about it that this should be studied from top to bottom. Not just the what PlayStation was saying, like this is our next Star Wars. Are you out of your fucking minds? Beyond all of that, it's about the game itself. Having that there preserved because it's an important part of gaming history. It's a point where PlayStation went extremely wrong. And so is there any hope of turning this all around? Like I said, I'm not giving up, but like it's looking dire. Here's Engadget, who says that Sony has already invested $34 million to repurpose its EU PlayStation disc factory. They write, Sony has been preparing for the end of disc-based games for some time based on a report by ORF Salzburg, the regional publication of Austria's national broadcasting network. I just love when gaming gets this far out. I was like, I've never even heard of this place, bro, but okay, let's rock with it. The management at Sony's Digital Audio Disc Corporation told ORF that the company has already invested $34 million into converting its disc factory in Salzburg into a plant for optical micro lenses. These changes have apparently been in the works for quite some time, though management only told Talgau workers about them on July 1st when Sony announced that they were going all in on digital starting in January 2028. Optical micro lenses can manipulate light and are typically used in camera sensors, AR/VR headsets, fiber optic networks, and medical devices. That's where your physical games are going. That's where they're going. They write here that they actually manufactured 600,000 discs per day. So they could have even slashed this operation and still kept it afloat. And not only that, they're not the only ones who are making discs. Right here, The Verge notes that the facility isn't the only one of Sony's disc-making factories. It's where DADC is based. DADC used to have a mass manufacturing factory in Indiana where they made 23 billion discs from 1983 until it closed in 2022. From that time until today, has manufactured 3.4 billion more discs. So like you could just slash this operation and keep it around, but they're just fully going in on micro lenses. Micro lenses. Come on, dude. This sucks. This is dystopian. Who gives a shit about that? Hell, hey, some people do. They're getting sued. There's already people lining up for a lawsuit. This is according to Niche Gamer here, where they write, Sony's facing legal challenges in multiple countries over allegations that the PlayStation Store operates as an illegal monopoly, with lawsuits accusing the company of restructuring competition and inflating digital game prices for millions of players. I'm making Emmett's job harder here. Oh my God, I hate being sick. The largest case is currently underway in the United Kingdom, where a class action lawsuit representing around 12 million consumers is seeking $2.7 billion in damages. The claim argues that Sony's requirement for digital games, digital downloadable content, and in-game purchases to be sold exclusively through the PlayStation Store has eliminated price competition, leaving consumers to pay more than they would have in a competitive marketplace. Legal pressure is also increasing in the Netherlands, where a consumer foundation representing roughly 1.7 million players has successfully advanced its case through the courts. The lawsuit alleges that Sony's standard 30% commission offered by critics as the Sony tax has contributed to digital PlayStation games costing significantly more than their physical counterparts. If successful, the case will require Sony to allow third-party retailers to sell digital games while also paying more than $400 million in compensation. Meanwhile, Sony has already agreed to resolve a separate consumer case in California through a preliminary $7.8 million settlement, although that's a dispute that was considerably smaller in scope than the ongoing European litigation. Go, 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 dude. Take it to them. Can't stand this shit. So, yeah, to put it all in a nutshell here, it's a destruction of culture. It's a destruction of preservation. It's important to hold on to that stuff, even their flops. I think it's important to be able to see those through. They don't have to pay for the fucking servers, but a way to preserve it in an offline mode. That's what Too Many Games is about. It would have forced these devs to consider and publishers an only offline mode. Once the game was like a Destiny was shut down, that game's going to go away forever. But there were people who were trying to push from a legality standpoint to keep an offline mode for a game like that and to make that possible. But it would have cost these companies so much money. And that's why you had Ubisoft flying all over the place, fighting tooth and nail. It's fucking disgraceful how against you they are. And how there are people out there who, like I've seen on social media, there are people who are defending it, bending over backwards. So, as they said at the top of the first article we went over, it's a profoundly disappointing decision by Sony. And I hope they reverse course. Chat, let me hear it from you. What are the thoughts? What are the feelings on what's going on with Sony and their move to digital games? I can't believe I'm saying this shit out loud too. Can I just add that in? Like, it's just what world am I living in? What's going on? Where the fuck am I? It really is at that point. I'm just like, what is this real life? I know it sounds dramatic, but it's true. It's true. Let me catch up on your super chats as well, guys. Hang on. I'm just going to send this to Emmett. Well, that was one slop, and I was like coughing up a storm. Let's hope the rest of this goes better. Probably won't. Oh, this is kiwi lemonade. I've never had this flavor before. I'm a seltzer fiend, dude. Like, never had this flavor before, though. Damn. That's some good shit. People defending this are the worst type of people. Yeah, dude. Like, I'm usually not a Mr. like, all right, shut up, corporate bootlicker, but like that's legit the era I'm in right now. All right, Emmett's got the files. Let's shift over to chat here. Oh, Jesus Christ. I missed a lot. Let me start off by thanking Mithu. This is super generous, Mithu. Holy crap. Matty, what's happening is currently terrible. And a big L for PlayStation. I hope this dono helps fund your game. I know it's not a lot, but just some of my appreciation. Mythu, thank you, dude. Thank you. You've always been in these streams and super vocal. I hope this isn't a stress on you because I know you were like looking at like gaming cheaper. So thank you. This does help the game. It does. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sometimes I lose the words, but thank you. That's super, super generous. Thank you, Mythu. Hope you're doing all right. I also want to thank Claw117 as well. I think I can get yours on screen here because the software is working. Nope, it just went away. What the fuck? Claw, you also super chatted $50, which thank you. From digital to work, Sony needs better refunds, better security, game sharing, game backups, and codes on other stores. PC has all of this. Even Nintendo, Xbox support more of these than Sony. Digital isn't the problem. The poor infrastructure is. Well said. Well said. You make me open to digital by saying it like that, where I'm like, some of those accounted for wouldn't be too bad. So I appreciate you, dude. Thank you, Claw, for always supporting the streams. Thank you, guys. This is super nice. I'm sorry I missed those while I was recording. Crimson Loki, you super chatted while I was recording. How do you feel about the way Xbox is handling digital games? Their approach is slightly different. I wonder what your thoughts are. I haven't read up fully on the disc to digital entitlement system. It feels like you're kind of turning your discs into just keys. It's about kind of what we just read from Claw earlier. If I can own them, maybe. How is that going to work from like multiple user standpoints? Like if I hand someone else the same disc, like can't we just kind of share that around and just eliminate game sales that way? So I got to read into a little bit more Crimson Loki. I apologize for my lack of knowledge on the topic. I don't want to speak out of turn though. Youth Canoe, any prediction for Fallout 3 remaster release date? I would say for that, I'm going to go spring 27. Dave Wonder said one day in the future, in due time, hopefully soon, but maybe not, and that's okay. The great Matty will bless us with news about his game, and it'll be an epic day, my friends, and we'll rejoice. You will know. You will know. I have no doubt about that. Mick Lovin, been starving for a Matty live stream. Get well soon. Thank you, dude. Yeah, sorry, guys. This is gonna be a sniffly, coughing, I should say, full stream. So I appreciate you bearing with me here. Rodney, sadly, game sharing is likely the industry's next target for stricter price control. Why are we letting them share licenses? Some future corporate. Yeah, literally. Like I get why like they would hate it, but like we need it. Like they cannot take this away, can they? Please don't. This would be awful, bro. If someone just called Sony Arasaka, bro. Like exactly. Reared Square said, important note, all physical games end on PlayStation January 2028, not just first party. There will be no physical PS4, PS5 games starting. Okay. Yeah, that's just like, yeah. I think these other companies, these more boutique publishers, are going to have to look into printing their own discs, and that's going to be tough. Their prices might go up as a result. There's got to be a solution. When there's a will, there's a way. There's got to be a solution. We got to keep fighting. Sheesh, man. What are we doing? Let me get some music up and running here. Just gotta get our next slop set up here on the browser. This next one's a one article slop. We're gonna have a conversation with Sean Layden. Why are we born just to suffer? Yeah, Hector, we're just going through it, man. Wayne B, thank you for your super chat. Rhea Ripley profile pic. How about that? Here in Australia, digital is like $30 to $40 more expensive than physical. If they don't reverse course, we are just fucked like that here in our New Zealand fam. Yeah, I never really thought about like what it's gonna. This is me being selfish thinking, by the way, but I never really thought about what this is gonna be like internationally, and how like physical it like was doing pretty decently in Europe for some stretch of time with some copies sold or some games that came out, I should say. But just broadly speaking, you know, like this is gonna fuck up a lot of people, dude. It's turning gaming into a country club hobby so that these fucking platform holders can tread water, and they're not going to go back. My only hope is when things stabilize, we get more challenges in the space. It's so clear that's what we need. It's so clear, like Xbox and PlayStation, if like, you know, so in some way you could argue have just ran their fucking course, and that when the time is right for new challenges to enter the space, Valve could have been that one. They really could have been. They still can be down the line, but they're gonna have to do like a new Steam machine that like is more traditional approach, like, you know, we're in the console space, here we go, instead of what the fuck happened with the Steam machine now, where they got completely bent over by like AI. Yeah, that took me off the pre-order list. I also didn't even get invited to that, but I digress. Yeah, it's gonna fuck a lot of people's purchasing habits up. We need a Johnny Silverhand to save us. Yeah. Take PlayStation to task. Save us, Lord Cognito. Please, Lord Cognito. Maximin, thank you for your super chat. Sad days. What are your thoughts on consoles versus what took place on PC with all media going digital? Good luck with your game. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, first of all. I appreciate that. Console versus what PC looks like. I mean, what a lot of the chat's been saying, I'm going to echo here, which is multiple storefronts I think is important, so I can get my games in different places. I think you need to support that. If you have one centralized storefront, that's terrible. They control all the pricing with so many games. And with the way they money hat shit too, it's terrible for you. No matter what kind of purchasing habits you have, it's terrible for you. So there's that. Jesus Christ, dude. And then the other thing I think is just the way, like, you can, for example, Carter Dell put this up on Twitter. He was like, I can download Cyberpunk, take the executable, put it on like another hard drive, delete Cyberpunk from my computer, as in like from Steam as a library, and then launch the game off the executable off that drive, and it will work just fine because it's mine. I literally took it and put it somewhere else. It's mine. I think digital needs to have some sort of proof, something that shows they cannot just take it away from you. You know, I just think that opens the door. Like, again, I do equate it to literally someone walking in your house and being like, this copy of Toy Story 3 on the DS? Thank you. Delisted. Bye. You want this? You don't own it. Like, I look at it like that. Just because they're not there in front of you doesn't mean that's not literally what's happening with, again, that story where we saw, like, they took people's movies away. And those movies weren't, like, no names. It was, like, Terminator 2. Like, you know, and so I think they need to go the PC route in that, like, okay, at least I can claim this shit. I can plant my flag and say it's mine. So, I don't know. Like, also the thing with consoles is they benefited from being physical from my point of view, because that's what separated them from PC. Now there's the lines have blurred so much. It's like, why the fuck would I have a PS6 if I have a PC? What, so I could play the fucking same looking God of War game for the third time in a row? I'm good. Well, people aren't going to like that. Deus Damocles. Luckily, their first-party output is low and meh. Playing DRM-free copies of your games will require a jailbroken PlayStation, not as easy on PC. Yeah. There you go. And that's the thing. Is like, I'm lucky. If I gave a fuck about their exclusives, bro, like, there's a few. They have a ton of IP I care about. Don't get me wrong. Like, they can definitely twist my arm with the right games. But, like, right now, I'm just like, yeah, you guys want to take all that fucking bullshit to your walled garden? Like, I'm not going to be banging on your door. Like, please, let me play God of War. Let me play another Horizon game. Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, go ahead and take it. When you start making Sly Cooper, though, I will be banging on the door. Like, please let me in. Please. Oh, my God. Please let me in. Ratchet and Clank as well. Please let me in. Jack and Dexter, please let me in. You know? That's the one thing that would twist my arm. I'm curious what your thoughts on playing Ninja Gaiden on Xbox for the first time back in the day. To me, it had the best graphics and gameplay I'd ever experienced. This was a big purchase for me as a kid, because I remember this was one of the first times I went to GameStop. I forgot what game I played. I wish I remember what the breaking point for me was, but I bought a game. I think it was full price, and it sucked. I want to say it might have been TMNT on PSP. No, I don't know. It was around the time. No, because it was for my original Xbox. This was early 2000s. It had to be a shitty tie-in game of some kind. I bought something. I was really disappointed because I beat it that same day. The game was ass. I complained to my dad about it. He showed me IGN where they had reviews, and I remember that's where I bought like Final Fantasy 12 because they got like a 9.7, I think, from them. God of War, which I think got like a 9 or a 10, and I bought Ninja Gaiden as well. And all these games were used, by the way, secondhand market, because I grew up in a low-income household, so I could not afford to fuck around with my games, so I couldn't pay full fucking price. So guess what I did? I got Ninja Gaiden Black for $10 fucking, and it was some of the best money I spent as a kid. And guess what happened? Guess how they got my money? I bought Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. I bought Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I bought Ninja Gaiden 4. I bought Razor's Edge. I bought 2 on 360. They got a fan in me. They got my money fucking tenfold. And I bought Ninja Gaiden Sigma on my Vita twice. Fuck, dude. This is the shit I'm talking about. Anyway, that experience was formative because that shit kicked the hell out of me, dude. That was a very tough video game. That was my Dark Souls as a kid. But also like how cinematic it was, how powerful you felt, the charge attacks where you hold Y and just crash out on them. Sick. Sick. Such a good game. I never beat it as a kid. Beat it as an adult, though. You're the best, Maddie. Keep up the good work, man. Always enjoy the videos. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I like that you got Clippy as your profile pic there. Bad Dads. Maybe lightening the mood. What should I play next? Crimson Desert, Lego Batman, or Pragmata? Finally finished Mouse PI for Hire and Alone in the Dark. Of the three here, I'm going to say Pragmata. Do Pragmata. It's a little just one energy, like third person over the shoulder, but its gameplay loop and mechanics are really like fun, satisfying, unique. Not too long. Lego Batman is amazing. I love that game, but you maybe have played something like that before, but Pragmata is very unique. Very much has a heart, has a soul. So I would pick that one of the three. I'm not very big on Crimson Desert, personally. That was a little disappointing for me. But it's also an entirely different game from the last time I played it, so there's also that. But I would go Pragmata. I have impressions up on Pragmata that have aged pretty well. It's basically, it reflects my thoughts on the full experience. Christopher Burnett, thank you for your super chat. If Sony doesn't walk back their decision to stop making games on discs, would Sony even allow companies like LRG to put games like Resident Evil 10 on discs? I don't know the logistics behind that, because again, I don't know the cost for someone like Limited Run to do that. I don't know if the way this detachable disk drive is going to work is that would even be like a good business strategy for Limited Run games, and if that would interfere anything that Sony's doing. I don't see why they would be able to outlaw other companies from printing their own discs and making these games and selling them, especially if they get the publisher's blessing, who has the code, who has the data. I actually don't know. I actually don't know if Sony would be like, hey, that's against what we're doing here. Or if there's I feel like there's a rug pull we're waiting for that we just don't know something. This is a really good question, though. Would you ever consider making an essential PlayStation physical disc buyer's guide? I've been on eBay all day buying old games and Move controllers. Well, I hope you watched our PlayStation video. I linked like 5 different buying guides in my description. I have so many for the PS3 and Vita. It's crazy. An essential physical disc buyer's guide? I'd have to think about what that exactly entails that I haven't already done. I have so many suggestions on games to buy and why I think they're great. But I guess what you're looking for is like a more in-depth, these are safe purchases. And it could become a project that goes on for years, to tell you the truth. Like just gradually adding and saying like these games are safe, these games are fully on disc. Especially the PS4 library is massive. Stuff, dude. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Curious. Where are the links? The links are in the description of the video on Retro Rebound that we just posted. It's called the PS3 and Vita are officially dead. Mr. Mo, thank you for your super chat. Keep in mind they set it up this way with a budget-friendly digital-only PS5. Then they could count microtransactions, live service, and digital only into their statistics. People defending it are Satan. Oh my God. I think people who are defending it heavily don't realize how skewed the data is. and how a lot of games that do actually succeed digitally also succeed physically. And I think a lot of people also don't realize that many times the digital stats are skewed because some games start off as digital first because they have no choice. That's the beauty of the digital market. It has allowed a lot of games to be shipped, especially on Steam. You know, you think of like the indie market there. It's tremendous. But then they find their footing in physical. Like it's always, especially long tail sales for like indie devs, getting that like second wind of physical copies sold is like huge. It's huge. You still be able to buy codes from retailers. Yeah, code in box, bro. We don't want that. Peter Wagner says, I'm sad to see we may never get a new Shin Megami Tensei P1, P2, P6, or was this Digital Devil's Saga remake as a physical. Really hope Sega and Atlas specifically drop GKC support. Looking forward to P4 revival. Yeah, man. That's the thing I haven't really weighed out yet, is there are so many games I look at in my library that, like, when games got remastered, it was exciting because it's things like Toy Story 3 Remaster. I went, oh my God, they're physically preserving it too. It's like the fucking shot in the arm. It's like, no fucking way, bro. It's unbelievable. Knowing that that's not going to be a thing anymore, and like, if any of these games on this list, like, oh, P1 is back. It's digital only. It's just not going to... It's not going to be the same as this, man. Look how much this is, dude. This is okay, I talked about this on Retro Rebound. You see this price tag here, right? This is fucking ludicrous. I need to get this removed, but this is one of those adhesive stickers, so I need to like take some time to do like the Gugon and everything. Anyway, $150, right? This is money I spent on the secondhand market. If Sony wants my money so fucking badly that they're going to butcher consumer practices, then you'd think the least they do is say, hey, if we have a high spending customer like Matthew, who has $150 to spend on video games, why don't we make these games available on our platform so that he doesn't go to the secondhand market to buy? If he's got $150 to spend, don't we want him in our storefront? Like, am I speaking another fucking language here? This shit should have been ready if they were going to do it. You know, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm with you, Peter. I'm with you. It's going to be tough seeing some games get ported over finally. It's like, yeah, they're back, but it's not the same, knowing that they're not going to be digitally preserved on current consoles. Secondhand also inflates the hell out of older games. I agree. Cutting some secondhand pricing wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. To help you break things up a little bit, what's with the Jedi? What side of the Jedi Sith spectrum do you fall on? Which code is burnt into your brain from KOTOR? I personally lean Team Jedi, but I know that Sith code by heart. Oh, friend. You want to know what side I lean on? I lean on this side right here. You know whose hilt this is? Before the fall. I lean on this side. Yeah, so for me, I think the Jedi are quite foolish in KOTOR. You know? Very passive. I kind of get the Sith a lot. I really do. I get that's what's so beautiful about KOTOR, is it's not just like the Sith are evil and power hungry, like you see in so much Star Wars movie. I think the Sith are very relatable in that KOTOR 2 really shows how the Jedi's reluctance and lack of action and hesitation and then overcorrecting in certain areas like Mitra Surik led to so much disaster for the galaxy and let the Sith take over because people thought that they were better. There's a lesson in that. There's a real life lesson in that. So I'm not saying I'm like dark side literally, but like I think I understand the Sith's motives, where I find the Jedi a little frustrating in Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. Good question though. I've never been asked this before. Master Vrook, Master Vandar, go fuck yourselves. You guys fucked the whole thing up. No KOTOR on disc. Why'd you have to say that on Charter Wolf? I didn't fucking think of that. No. Oh fuck, dude. Now they got a reverse course. Dead or Alive 6 last round was a scam, Matty. Oh, no. Oh, no. What happened? Dead or Alive 6 last round. Oh, this came out with reviews? Let's see here. I'm just curious. I'll just take the top-down look. Metacritic. I know, OpenCritic. Sorry, what am I doing? OpenCritic. Oh, boy. Whoa. That's some fucking low scores, brother. Wow. Okay. Really? What happened here? It's a great fighting game wrapped up in a very bad package. Everything it made special in 2019 still holding up today, but little justify why this re-release wasn't another DLC pack. Electric Experience. Maybe Dead on Arrival. Oh, that's cool little wordplay. Should be more generous bundle with all the content included, a tag team mode and rollback netcode. Instead, it's a cash grab with scant new features to justify its inexplicable existence. Whoa. Wow, it really is just like what everyone feared it would be. Fuck, man. It's the same as the normal version, but with a $40 of the photo mode. That's fucked up, man. Last super chat for me because I'm broke. Yeah, dude, don't super chat if you don't super chat if you don't got money, please. I appreciate it, but like I try to answer the chat as often as I do the super chats. Want to thank you again for helping my physical game collection journey. You've helped me immensely with game suggestions for PS3, Xbox, and so on. Thank you, sir. My pleasure. Save your money for your collection, dude. Thank you. You've like supported so much. Just hang back, relax, chill with us. Like, I'm not even just saying that. Like, just come hang out, Dave. We're happy to have you here. And I'm gonna give more game suggestions in a little bit on Retro Rebound. Nerdy Giant. So much bad news in the games industry, but one thing I can say is even with all the bad news, there are still amazing games coming out, and there are more to come. Yes, I made a whole video about this, actually, and it's almost 30 minutes long. You can check it out. It's called Games I Need to Play in the Second Half of 2026, and I'm very happy with it, and there's a lot of good shit coming out, and I agree. Games are getting better. Gaming culture is worse than ever. And I think there's a clear divide between those two. There hasn't been a game recently I'd camp out for, but the fact that those memories are about to take a blockbuster hit is depressing. It's a good way of describing it. I would throw in there games I'd go to a midnight release for. Star Wars Zero Company, GTA. You don't want to be at a GTA midnight release. I went to 5's midnight release. It was awesome. GTA comes to mind. Fire Emblem keeps jumping to mind. I'm very excited for Fire Emblem this year. That would be cool. I'd love to meet more Trails fans, so if Trails did some type of midnight release, but that would never fucking happen. Those are a few that come to mind. Blood of Dawnwalker would be neat. Next year is a big midnight release year, for sure. You know, Clockwork Revolution comes to mind. Who am I fucking kidding? That's an Xbox game. I'm in such cope land, bro. Oh, my God. Maybe Fable. God willing. Fable on disc, please. Fallout 3 Remaster is like a guaranteed shadow drop, I feel. Exodus? I don't know. Yeah, just Elder Scrolls 6. Tez 6 would be a midnight release I want to be there for. I was there for Skyrim. I thought I'd be at so many more Elder Scrolls midnight releases. Green Blade, to answer your question about Beyond the Horizon, I got to start it. I got to play more than like the first hour. I gotta get to it. I'm behind on that one. I'm behind on gaming. I haven't gamed much this last week because I was traveling, and so when I was on vacation with my friends, those are like the 4 or 5 days I wasn't gaming. And then when I got home, I was sick, so I've been watching a lot of anime. I watched Freerun Season 2. I finished Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex Season 1. I watched some episodes of My Hero. And then I was going to play last night, but I was putting together a document for the game in the free time I did have. So tonight, I should be back to finishing Adventures of Elliot. And after that, I got some choices to make. I got a lot of shit to play before the onslaught happens in July and August, because time's a-ticking. Anyway, to answer this super chat here, is there any hope for changing consumer behavior? Fact is, they wouldn't do these things if enough people truly voted with their wallets. This is the tough conversation to have, which is, I don't want to put it all on us because I think these companies do have a responsibility to look out for us, like a little bit. Will they? No, but I think part of their responsibility is to like look out for the customer and do what's best by them, because that's what Net's loyalty is. Like, that company takes care of me. They care about me as a returning customer, so I'm going to give them my money. That's the relationship, right? At the same time, yeah, I think some people kind of give up. I think a lot more people would fight if they knew it would matter. There's a reason why, like, usual Angry Matty didn't come out. It's like, I mentioned it in my video multiple times on the physical game stuff. I'm like, you know, what am I going to accomplish with this? And there was a time where it felt like our backlash really cut through. But so many companies are just trained to, like, just bury your head, it'll blow over. And it's built so much resentment where now people, like, overreact to everything else. As you've seen as games get revealed, they're like, okay, we're going to tear this fucking thing down then. It's a cascading effect that I just don't think is good for the business. But how can you change consumer behavior? I mean, I think just options are good. Like, not everything has to be about the dominant option. Like, okay, most people play digital. That's fine. A lot of people in the millions, many millions, clearly, if sales are to go by just for PlayStation, still shop physical. Buying games as a gift is still an incredibly important fucking thing. So, you know, I don't think it's about changing consumer behavior. I think it's just supporting a part of your base that does like to do things a certain way and not forcing them to change. Again, for me, it's a lot about, like, look, it's not like I had a great childhood. I'm not even saying it like, here's my sob story. But I did grow up in a lower income home. If not for used games, specifically GameStop, I don't know if I'd be gaming as much nowadays because I was able to stick with the hobby because I could fucking afford it. And it's because I wasn't spending money. I was using trade credit. I was recycling, you know? And yeah, you can listen to that and go, well, that's bad for the business. Bro, this is a fucking multi-billion-dollar business. Miss me with that there's not enough cash flow. There's so much money. So much money in this industry. I don't want to hear it. So I do think there has to be a balance because the inaffordability of gaming is bad for any entertainment industry, really. Like, as in, it's bad if movies are unaffordable. It's bad if books are unaffordable. Comics, manga, anime. It's bad if any of these things cannot reach a common player. Used games may not benefit, you know, the publisher. And I get that. I guess I could say I sympathize, but guess what, dude? The reason I'm giving you money today is because I could afford it when I was a fucking kid in ways that weren't traditional. You know? That's just like, especially in today's world where, like, have you seen how much money everything else is? This isn't even about, like, oh, I'm going to rely on my older brother to go buy the games for me and I'll take whatever's in his library. What games is he going to be able to afford? I could rant about this endlessly, and we will continue in just a moment. We have a Matty Slap topic on this. Crimson Loki says, as someone who grew up with KOTOR, I'm low-key panicked at the idea that the next entry might be exclusive as someone without a PlayStation. I don't think it will be. I think PlayStation nixed that deal. I think you're good. I think that'll be multi-plat. Especially since it went over to Saber. I think it'll be multi-plat. So I don't think you got to worry about that. Especially because they, like, took the trailer down and everything. I think you're okay. Now, will it be physical? That's the thing, is I want physical for KOTOR Remake. Please come out next year, bro. Like, please. It's like, that's the deadline. It's got to come out next year. Oh, fuck, dude. Fuck me. Why the fuck did you say that? Oh, no. Fuck, dude. It's going to look like I have a drinking habit. This is seltzer, just to be clear. Peter says, finally caught up on Trails of. Any favorite arc? Calvert has been growing on me. Looking forward to the next game. The Zero Azure arc is probably my favorite. Crossbell. It's like the best part of the series. Calvert's a close second. Erebonia arc, it's got its moments. It's solid. Cold Steel 3 is good. 2 is alright. 1 is great. 4, I fucking hate. So Erebonia is an up and down roller coaster. But I would say Crossbell then Calvert. But I have to play Beyond the Horizon. That might change everything for me. Because, like, right now, Calvar has been a bit of a bumpy ride. Daybreak 1, peak. Literally my favorite Trails game. Daybreak 2, ass. One of my least favorite. Sony needs to provide a cryptographic signature and approve manufacturing of discs. Without them, publishers and distributors can't do it alone. I don't know. Why are you you're putting all the bullets in my hope, bro? Please stop killing the hopium. Thank you for being realistic. This requires Sony's, cooperation. Hey, Matty, you've shouted me out in moments since the early Fallout 4 days. Love your content. Love the idea that you're making a game. Can't wait to play it. Thank you. Thanks. I always appreciate you guys having confidence in it. Like, I have confidence in it too, but like also, you know, there's a level of like, I got to show you first, but I'm pretty excited to get to that point. I think about it every fucking day, dude. It's like, I get why developers get antsy. We're at that point where I'm like, come on. What region would you like to see Fallout 5 in? I think the South would be interesting. I always liked New Orleans. Ever since that Fallout New Orleans rumor from, like, Obsidian popped up 8 years ago, I always loved that. Fallout Miami would be interesting. I guess we kind of got Fallout in the South, like, South asterisk with West Virginia and the Appalachia for 76. Texas would be a cool one. Kind of like a Wild West style Fallout. That'd be sick. Fallout in the Pacific Northwest would also be fucking great. There's so many great settings that they could do, dude. It's crazy how untapped that franchise still is. This will be a couple of my picks, Charlie. Good question. I'm going to blow my nose in a second here, guys. Thoughts on Exodus having some form of morality system of the Mass Effect variety? Definitely helps me since Fable is going out of their way to not to do that. Yes, I agree. I think binary, or what's not binary? I'm failing to find the word, but the evil and good sort of morality system, I like. I want more of that. I grew up on that with KOTOR. Light side, dark side. Fable, good, evil. So yeah, I love that Exodus is doing it. Paragon, Renegade, and Mass Effect. Like, give me more of that. I'm on the final chapter of Trails in the Sky. First chapter. Did they change things from the original? I feel like they changed some things, or is it just me? You might notice some light differences based on like how they shoot cutscenes and stuff, but the general game is the exact same. Like, all the content is the same. It looks a lot better, but yeah, it is the same game, and the same would apply for their other remakes coming up. Give me one sec, guys. I gotta fucking, God, I hate being sick, bro. I gotta blow my nose. Fuck. Okay. Dog cameos peak. Wait. Did Rufus enter the room? That's so funny. Jeez, bro. God. More dog, please. I'm sure he can come hang out. I'll let him in a little bit. Does Xbox controlling all disc printing like Sony? It'll be wild if we see a sudden uptick on Xbox physical sales because it's more decentralized. That would be interesting. I'm not holding my breath though. Xbox physical already sucked for a while. I think it's done. I think they made the decision earlier than PlayStation did. I think PlayStation just acted on it quicker. How would you react if Elder Scrolls 6 was set in Skyrim? I would be fucking immensely disappointed. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'd be like, all this time later, the game you've been selling us over and over and over, and you made a new game in the same place. If it included Skyrim, like you could go to Cyrodiil, and you could go to Skyrim, and you could go to all these different parts of Tamriel. Sure. That's basically ESO, though. All right. Let's get this next slop rocking and rolling. Let's shoot the breeze some more about fucking PlayStation. I like how everyone knows Rufus. Everyone's like, Mr. Rufus Plays. All right. Again, feel free to use your meat emojis in the chat as we fire this one up. It's time for some slop. Okay. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for more slop. We are not taking our foot off the throat of PlayStation anytime soon as they continue to murder video game culture. Yeah, we're not going to mince words, dude. Like, they're killing it. And so one thing I was interested about was how the industry was responding to it. We talked about that. But also, I found it interesting to see that Sean Layden, one of the former PlayStation bosses, like the dude who was on the stage with the PS4, a generation we all remember fondly. Remember that generation where like PlayStation was leaning into used games heavily? You don't remember? Let me grab you a clip. Let me grab you a great clip here. Hang on. I forgot to turn off the Skyrim music, but it's fine. We'll just turn it off now for the rest of the video. Let me show you guys this cool clip. Hang on. I wasn't originally planning to throw this into the video, but very important. Here we go. This video is unfucking believable that it even exists. Here's Jack Tretton during the PS4 generation talking about your beloved used games and why they're important. Take a listen.
When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever. When a gamer buys...
Look at all those cameras. Look at it. Listen to the cheers of the audience, like the happiness they created. And this is what won them that generation. That right there, that move, they know the importance. And Sean Layden was there for that. So I was very interested to get his thoughts on this. Did PlayStation, consider this very early? What does an ex-PlayStation boss think about this general trajectory for the business? For those who don't know, like he's been very vocal about how things have progressed from economics. He's talked about game development budgets and how it's been unsustainable with game prices and that they've always gone up. He's talked about Game Pass and how he thinks it's foolish. So what does he think about PlayStation going away from discs? Let's take a read from this article here on Eurogamer. We're going to go through the whole thing. Former PlayStation Worldwide Studios leader and Sony veteran of 32 years, Sean Layden has described Sony's surprise decision to end game production of discs as fairly dramatic. In an interview with me, he called it a spreadsheet decision, outlined why he didn't think secondhand sales were a deciding factor in it, and explained why Sony has always wrestled with this exact decision in the past. Layden left Sony in 2019, and it's important to note before I begin that he had no insider or prior knowledge of the events that have taken place this week. He said, quote, "I have no idea what was going to happen. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I don't work in the business anymore. Maybe it's just too prohibitively expensive to stamp out discs." Essentially, his guess is as good as ours. So we're not following his gospel, but I do think it's really important to consider 32 years working at PlayStation, was the head of one of their most important generations in the PS4. What he says matters here. He's seen the sheets. He's been a part of conversations, and he does bring up that information, like conversations he's had about physical games and the thoughts inside the building and how often this has been pushed for, which will disappoint you, I think. Let's keep reading. He said it could be no more complicated than some people looking at a spreadsheet and deciding the number doesn't make sense to keep supporting physical sales anymore. Quote, "If you look at any decision to discontinue a product or feature or model or what have you, largely it's a straight spreadsheet decision. What are disc sales compared to digital sales? And I am old enough to remember when digital sales were like 10%. I'm old enough to remember when digital sales were 0% because we didn't have a digital market. And that number just grew over time." And obviously we know this, the article mentions it as well, but like COVID really accelerated things. AI, I think, has accelerated things a little bit. We're just like, I'm talking about on the company side when it comes to AI, where they're just trying to cost cut it any direction they can, and digital storefronts benefit them far more than having a retail middleman here. You say, like us, Layden thinks that Sony's decision to end disc production means that a PS6 console won't have a disc drive. It's a move he said Sony toyed with for years while he was there. Quote, I've been asked this question every year for the last 20 years. When are you guys going to give up on the disk drive? My feeling with that was always, well, when I get to a place where I'm comfortable enough to believe that worldwide broadband throughput is good enough to support that download experience, good enough to reach the majority of customers. Majority does not mean entirety, he clarified. So there is a tipping point, where if I have 80% of the opportunity, which represents 95% of the revenue source, what's the incentive to keep the lights on for the other 20% if it's effectively 5% of the business? Do you see what I'm saying? At some point, it becomes obvious that we can't keep this whole thing running just for this small slice of opportunity here. So major takeaway for me here is simply that they've been talking about this for a while. He says every year for the last 20 years, when can you get rid of the disc? And even if that's an exaggeration, it's every year for the last decade, right? When he was there. So that goes back from 2009 to 2019. Crazy. And I'm sure this question would continue for him as he would consult further. So this has been something that these companies have wanted so badly, so that they can cut out the middleman, control the price, and make gaming an even more expensive hobby. Having secondhand markets is important because being able to afford games is important. Not everyone grows up with a silver spoon in their mouth, or even just additional income. Sometimes used games and trade credit is all you get as a kid until you can start making your own money and then spending it on games, and you have that agency. But for a lot of people, that's not an option. Now, continuing on here, they say presumably that tipping point has been reached, but there's always been a danger of overestimating regional internet infrastructure somewhere, something that Sony has always been, quote, pretty good, end quote, at considering in the past, but, quote, unlike Xbox, Sony has a wider global fan base, and not just the numbers, but the reach, because Sony has reach all over the world. But there are people who fall outside the internet's reach. For example, there are people on military bases playing PS4 who had no internet connection for security reasons. And, quote, the idea was that you could still buy a PS4 game, throw it in a machine, and play was important. You don't want to leave those people behind, Layden said. I don't know what went into those conversations, he summarized, but it's a fairly dramatic decision. There we go, making Emmett's job difficult again. It's so interesting hearing the military base thing here, because time, it's a flat circle. Here we go again. Here we go again. Remember when this was brought up? Who are we talking to again? Oh, that's right. Don Matrick. Don Matrick. We have a console for you. You want to play offline on your military base? We have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. And so Jeff Keighley challenged them on that, saying, oh, so for those who, don't want to buy the Xbox One, just go get a 360. And Don Matrick immediately tries to walk it back. Here we are talking again about parts of the world that cannot access their video games and how they're still part of the broader customer base, and how, well, you got a PS4 at the end of the day. That was important. Not so much now. Continuing on, Layden says here that secondhand sales aren't such a big thing anymore. Even when he left Sony in 2019, their effect on the business was dwindling. By the time I had left, maybe we had some people looking into it and physical piracy, that kind of stuff. We used to do a lot. We had a lot of energy 20 years ago. You used to see photos that we put out bulldozers going over pirate discs in Hong Kong, crushing them. That concern is gone now. They used to be a huge factor, he acknowledged. The whole GameStop business model was driven around the used game. And then over time, the rise of digital kind of quashed that used game business and made it hard for folks who were already making a nickel in the secondary market by selling them. I don't really think the reality is that it necessarily drives this decision, because this has been happening over time. I think right now we've reached some kind of homeostasis where it's in a weird sort of balance. Secondhand gaming still occurs, obviously, but it's not material anymore to the business to worry about, I think. While specific tipping for Sony's recent decision remains unclear, Sony's provocatively cited consumer preferences as the reason for discontinuing disc support. The ramifications of it are a little clearer. Blech, I can't fucking read right now. Anyway, we can just leave that part out, Emmett. You can go ahead and cut that. This is just the sloppiest of slop right now. Anyway, what I want to focus on here is the secondhand market and how he says for a while this has not really been impactful. And that is a big takeaway, because I think it plays into both arguments. One of my arguments is like secondhand gaming matters because it makes things affordable. And a lot of people have said, well, that they're going for that market. They don't want to lose that money there at all. if it's not something to worry about and it hasn't been since 2019 where digital gaming was still growing, then is this really the point of their decision? I think you could still argue so, because it seems like every nickel and dime matters right now. It's why we're going in on AI. We're trying to cut down staff because we're trying to use these tools together to improve a single person to take over the role of like maybe, 3 to 5 people. And on top of that, you've got things like this, like, okay, how much money do we save when we're not printing, producing, shipping stuff? Probably a lot, in the many of millions. And so that all adds up to them, and then they can put that right in their pocket. So it's very interesting to get Sean Layden's perspective again, because now we learn 2 things here. One, this was a thing building for a while, and not just because, people are buying more digital, but like this is something going back 20 years. And on top of that, we also have an idea now that PlayStation never really felt quite threatened by the secondhand market. So what does that tell me? It's actually a simple answer. Greed. I really do believe this is an Occam razor moment. Like, this is just that simple. Simplest answer, most likely. Greed. It's right there in front of you. It's just that simple, right? They are currently unchallenged. Nintendo's going off and doing their thing. You have Xbox who's shooting themselves in the head 4 times over every year. There's no one that Xbox PlayStation war meant something. It was their one direct competitor in that same space that they fought for the same audience, the same type of audience. Yes, we're in an attention economy now, but they fought for the same audience. And having one of them so colossally fuck themselves all generation has led to this in a lot of ways. It's not purely Xbox's fault, because PlayStation certainly hasn't had a great generation. But Xbox having no games in 2022, for example, at least PlayStation can say, we didn't do that. We've had some awful decisions this generation. We didn't do that. Point being, though, is this is what happens when they're left unchecked and they know they can make more money and they're ready to start bodying you right into a type of practice that benefits them, and none of the benefits of that move get passed on to you. You don't get more back compat. You don't get your PS3 and Vita games. You don't get cheaper games. Certainly, PlayStation employees will keep their jobs now, right? Because you're able to save more money. Certainly, you'll be able to keep these longer development timelines, right? And projects that should have seen the light of day won't get shut down, right? Right? Wrong. It's not happening. Nothing's changing. They're just making more money off of it. Now, on top of this, PlayStation has had a response to all of what's going on here. This is a new announcement. They write here, PlayStation confirms support for existing physical games post-2028. In a new announcement, PlayStation has stated that publishers can still get existing physical media printed after January 2028. This is the latest development in the recent announcement that has taken over the entire industry. Quote, before going any further, consider download. I completely misread that, thinking it was a different one. Sorry. But hey, support insider gaming. Why not? Okay, let's actually jump down to the report. According to a new GameFile report, Sony sent a partner message to game publishers stating that they will, quote, still be able to place reorders for existing PlayStation discs, end quote. PlayStation has clearly informed partners that any game released before the deadline will be able to have its discs printed. However, PlayStation did say that one thing will change. The ordering process for discs will be announced later. Regarding what happens after the deadline, Sony stated that publishers will have the opportunity to release new games at retail using digital codes. Fuck you, bro. It sounds fucking awful. Okay, so players now know how they will be able to grab discs of games released in 2027, in 2028. However, we don't know how these games will be offered later. Will it be code embedded in a card or something else? Players will have to wait for an announcement to know for sure. So they're trying their best to damage control internally. The pressure is getting real, so keep it up. That's all I've got to say on that. Keep up the pressure, dude. But this, okay, we can still get some discs afterwards. This is something I was talking about recently. But we know this has been a long time coming. Sony's wanted for a while. We know that they're not maybe threatened by the used game market. So again, I just see it as greed. It's just killer, bro. It's just killer. So continue to fight. That's all I can say on that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from you on the slippy slop. That sounded a little sexual. I don't know if I like that. Let me know what you thought. How are we feeling about Sean Layden's comments? Big boss at PlayStation for a while. Is it worth leaning into? How do we feel about PlayStation's comments as well? That's a tricky one. Same thing as last time. Fuck Sony. Call me Captain Free Games now. Arg. Oh. Maddie, does that mean no disc for Stellar Blade 2? Depends when Stellar Blade comes out. A lot of this depends on when these games come out. If you're coming out before 2028, then I think you're good. But it depends if all of that's on disc. I hope they walk it back. I mean, the fact that they're already issuing comments, I think if people keep up the pressure, maybe something can shake up a little bit. A wholesale walk back would be fucking crazy, though. And I don't think people would meet it with applause. They meet it with, like, good. Thanks for not being stupid. I just think they should cut their disc production. Like, I saw the numbers we were looking at was like they're printing, like, however billion discs. Just spend less on the amount of disc production. If you want to fucking, like, keep it as, like, a boutique thing, you can do that still. Yeah, Crimson Loki's bringing up what happened with Destiny. I forgot that they even fucking did that shit earlier this week. Or last week. Whenever it was, dude. And before that, it was Xbox raising prices. We already forgot about that. And before that, we already forgot, like, Steam Machine prices were crazy. Like, the worst thing Valve did was, I guess, fall in line with what's happening with AI and data centers. And I can't fully blame them. But, like, holy shit, bro. So much, like, whirlwind type bad news. It's just endless. Well, that's us beating the shit out of PlayStation. We got some Xbox stuff to get into as well. That'll be basically this weekend's slop for sure. We're going to talk about Obsidian first and what's going on with them. It'll be a busy week. I remember, like, this time of year, it used to be so dead. There was nothing to talk about. For those who have been around, like, the gaming content creation side of things for a while, you know, like, after E3 went, it was, like, nothing. Nothing happened. Just everyone, like, fired all their news out, and it was done. But now we're at a point where, like, bro, it's just, it's fucking endless. It's an onslaught. It just keeps going. My SSD died. I need $200 to replace it with the same specs. Fa! This is Pineapple Tangerine Dream. It's all right. Kiwi Lemonade's taking the cake for me. Varun's Call is spiritually like Fable. Heard of it? Wolfheart is hyped for it. Inspiring that a 7-person part-time team can make a game like that. I've got to look into this one. Yeah, when Wolfheart, when he gives a thumbs up to a game, that gets me interested for sure. Him and I have very similar tastes, I think. So I personally will check it out. You guys have brought it up in chat a few times, though. I think it's coming out this month, so I'll keep my eye on it. But I like the 7-person part-time team. That's very impressive. That's around the same squad size we have, and we're all part-time too. Oh no, Shaunaverse said I had an SSD and my graphics card fail on me. Ugh, bro, awful timing. Cataclysmically bad luck. I don't understand it. They lose 5 to 10% of the customer base to save money when that 5 to 10% will add up to many millions in a decade. That's what I'm saying, dude. It's about like this sort of gradual. Oh wait. Okay, I thought I had the music blasting. It's about this, like, the thing that I worry about with these companies is they're not seeing the long-term picture. It's like, are you just out on gaming? Like, do you not care about gradually building that audience more and more over time and what that exactly means? I don't know. Maybe I'm old school. Jay Plays Casual says, what's absolutely messed up is that PlayStation made people buy disc drives separately, well knowing they were going to stop physical production. Also, with the PS5 external disc drives, don't they require internet? I actually don't know. I've never owned one. But this is true. There's something to this, that they sold this knowing. Man. It's never been more obvious that these companies just don't give a fuck about you. You know, I've never been like the anti-corp guy, you know? Like, I think always championing like war against all these companies is perpetually exhausting. But in this moment, I'm like, fuck them, bro. It's so obvious. Like, the amount of like chess and checkers they've been playing, or sorry, not just checkers, but chess, just fucking crazy. Crazy, dude. Fuck them, man. That's why I literally said on Twitter, I was like, fuck these losers, bro. Like, easy on sub. I don't give a fuck about them. Neither should you. You know, it's a bad day to be a gamer, is it not? Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a bad day to be a gamer in that, like, there's still a lot of good shit happening in software, but, like, the way you access that software, yeah, it's a bad day. Yeah, it's just... It's sad. It really is. It's annoying because they tried to shake us off, and they couldn't. So they just ripped the Band-Aid. And they think that'll work. They're just like, fuck it. They're not gonna stop. It's like, exactly. So you should keep supporting it, right? You know, I don't blame people though who just like bow out of gaming. You wonder why there's so many tourists controlling the fucking narrative, bro. They make it so easy with these types of fucking headlines. You don't have to play a game to know this sucks. Ryan, some games in my backlog I'm hoping to play soon. GTA. I'm looking at one of the big three, like Vice City 3, San Andreas. I'd like to hit one of those. Metal Gear Solid 4 as well. My laptop power button failed on me, and my keyboard replacement was $300 because it was designed as one unit. No! Oh, Mithu, no. I'm sorry to hear this, dude. I hope it gets fixed, man. I hope it all works out well. Like, the thing that has me definitely afraid is, like, I'm looking at my PS3 or my... Dude, these Vita batteries, like, fucking explode. Like, I get so worried about them and just one day expiring. I mean, all this stuff eventually expires. That's why it's like, if you're going digital, make the software evergreen. That's all I ask for. Who wants to talk Xbox? We've talked a lot of PlayStation. Who wants to get into Xbox slop? Let's do it. Got more slop coming your way, guys. Here we go. Let's pause the music. Let's see if I can get through it. Oh my God. I have to move a little fast today because I'm feeling like progressively like more and more like shit. So I just want to make sure I can finish the slop up and we can hang and chat for a little bit afterwards. Part of it's because it's hot as fucking balls in here, dude. My God. Oh, I'm looking forward to it, Blake. I'm looking very much forward to Gears E-Day. Although Xbox is making it difficult to be excited about anything they're doing. But I digress. Okay. Ready? Spam your meme emojis, if you will. All right, let's do this. Where are my notes at? Okay. Let's talk Xbox. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at what's going on the other side of the pond, shall we? Okay, we talked a lot about PlayStation. Things aren't going good there. Xbox, how are you doing, baby? Oh, yeah, time for some slop again. You know what's so funny? When I started this channel, right? When we began the idea of Matty Slop, it was supposed to be ironic. Like, I think I do a good job creating content that's very watchable and listenable. Like, I think that stuff that we do on Retro Rebound and Mr. Matty is great. But what's happened now is that the word is so perfect for everything happening in gaming. That was not intentional. I hope it returns to being this great dosage of irony later on as gaming maybe course corrects, but that's not going to happen this coming week, as we're all waiting for Xbox to announce what studios are shutting down, what studios are spinning off, what studios are merging together. What is this grand reset that they're about to put into play? We know it's going to be bad, not just because of the rumors, but like Xbox staff online has been dead silent. And we know what happens when these execs go silent. They were happy to like, yeah, exclusives are back. And yeah, we hear you. And yeah, we're going to do these achievements. And like, they're out there. But suddenly they've gone into hiding. And it's because they know it's about to be real bad for them. One name that has come up in the conversation is Obsidian Entertainment. Now, before I get into all this, I want to let you know that we're going to go through what happened that brought their name into the news mail, but we want to talk about specifically if they're in trouble. I know that's considered taboo in the games industry. It's kind of like putting the bad juju out there. But as someone who, I'm coming from the angle, which I know some people seem to not, but I'm coming from the angle of someone who cares about Obsidian. I really like Obsidian Entertainment. They have made one game that I can point to and go, I did not like that. That was Avowed. They have made games I don't care as much about. Like I haven't played Pillars of Eternity 1 or 2. I've heard great things. But those are games that I can't talk. Those are games that I did not jump out of my way for. But I do respect them, and there's a ton of fans for those games. But they have mostly, for me, delivered on games dating back to KOTOR 2, which is one of my favorite games of all time. But of course, New Vegas, another favorite of all time. South Park Stick of Truth, Alpha Protocol, it's a guilty pleasure of mine. Grounded is awesome. Pentiment is excellent. You know, the list goes on. They make a lot of great games, and I really did enjoy The Outer Worlds 2 despite its flaws. So I'm talking about this from a point of concern of what's going to happen, what's going to change. What brought them into the rumor mill? Let's take a look at that first and foremost, and then we'll start breaking it down. So what brought them here was the game business. They did an episode here where they were talking about Xbox divided over its future, PlayStation if people even buy physical games. In that episode, a quote came out. And the quote was this: the company wants to invest in its big franchises, and to do that, it needs to cut from elsewhere. Studios such as Compulsion, Ninja Theory, Double Fine, Obsidian, Undead Labs, and others are deep in negotiation with Microsoft to avoid closure. The impact of this will likely reverberate across the business. That's a new name on the list. Undead Labs was the recent addition. I don't agree with that move. Here comes Obsidian. I strongly disagree with this move because all this says to me is you are not serious, bro. Not because I'm a little Obsidian fanboy, okay? Look at Xbox's portfolio and be honest with yourselves, Xbox fanboys. Look at it and tell me who is shipping games. Think. I'm gonna stay quiet for a couple seconds. Think. Yes, Obsidian. Yes, Playground. You know, we got 2 Forza Horizons, and those are doing really great numbers. They stayed on schedule, and they're going to do Fable early next year, so they're great. But it's really been Obsidian. We're talking about a platform holder, not just a publisher of games, but a platform holder who had 0 key exclusives for a full calendar year. And the only solution they had to their roadmap was to money hat Bethesda to take in Starfield and Redfall, realize that those games were in such disarray because Bethesda was in a shit position themselves that they had no choice but to delay into 2023. And so your only games in 2022 as an Xbox player were Pentiment, great game, not a system seller, and Grounded 1.0, a game you already had in early access. That was it. But Obsidian has shown up there. They've shown up with 3 games last year. One, again, I wasn't a fan of in Avowed, but I thought Grounded 2 was awesome, and I enjoyed The Outer Worlds 2, right? To me, if they were in the conversation at all for a shutdown, we'll talk about retooling and what's going to happen there, but a shutdown would be the most deeply unserious move Xbox, I think, has ever made, because if they care about shipping games, getting rid of a company that knows how to produce is a bad idea, because at least they're shipping games. We just got to find them the right IP, baby. We got to find them the right moneymaker, and I can think of one that we'll talk about in a little bit. Now, to jump all over this and just kind of put it to bed, Jason Schreier did jump onto Blue Sky, and he said, despite a report this morning, I can confirm Obsidian is not in negotiations to avoid shutting down. Plenty of details are still up in the air surrounding layoffs. The picture will be clear on Monday, but Xbox is keeping Obsidian according to people familiar with the situation, which is good. Does that mean that they're not going to have significant layoffs? Not the case here. Now, with this news, does bring us to, of course, Fallout, right? Jordan Midler, who was in on the Obsidian Fallout rumors before, and he works at Video Game Chronicle, said, "This is the one that made the least sense to me, especially in the context of focusing on big games. I've been told multiple times recently that they were early on a Fallout project, which obviously is the dream stuff for fans. Whether that burned out or isn't far enough along, who knows, but brutal." Now, since then, he saw, of course, what Schreier had posted. He was happy about it. But with this rumor taking charge, like, okay, shit, they're working on a Fallout game, that definitely secures their future, because we had the report from the information that said that Xbox is focusing on Halo, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. And that's where Obsidian's use is going to lie. Like, you have all the systems from New Vegas basically built in the Outer Worlds 2. It's on Unreal Engine. That's the trick in it all. We'll talk about that. But you could make a new Fallout game using those systems, those bells and whistles, and probably produce it rather quickly, all things considered. Now, with all of this in mind, I don't think they're working on a Fallout game, because Jason Schreier came out again and said, "For what it's worth, this isn't true, although I suppose it could become true real soon given Sharma's reported new direction." Now, I would trust Jason Schreier's reporting here, because he had done the whole report as part of Bloomberg, breaking down Obsidian's year in 2025 and just how successful games like Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, and Grounded were. Now, to jump back to Jordan Midler real quick on this Fallout rumor, when it was shut down, someone said he refuted the Fallout rumor, and Jordan said, "I 100% trust Jason. If things people told me were wrong, so be it." So he's eating it. No problem there. So I wouldn't expect Obsidian Fallout, especially because when Tim Kaine had left to go back to Obsidian, he said that they weren't working on Fallout at that point in time. So anyway, here's Obsidian's situation now, right? We've heard rumors. Okay, shutdown, no shutdown. This doesn't mean that they're going to go through this unscathed. Here's why. Two games that we know them pretty well for, Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed, underperformed financially, says Obsidian. Here's how they described it. Despite relatively strong critical acclaim for the first two, studio head Fergus Urquhart revealed to Bloomberg that they didn't meet Microsoft's sales expectations, the first two being Outer Worlds and, of course, Avowed. Quote, "They're not disasters. I'm not going to say this like it was a kick in the teeth. It was more like, that sucks. What are we learning?" said Urquhart. Meanwhile, Grounded 2 emerged as a fairly sizable hit, and based on its latest update, it's only gotten better. As a result, Obsidian is reevaluating how it develops games and says they think a lot about how much they put into the games, how much we spend on them, how long they take. One such step to reduce development time is targeting 3 to 4 per game, as opposed to 6+ years that Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 necessitated. He says, "I don't think really anybody likes 5, 6, 7-year development cycles. We've kind of grown into that," says Brandon Adler, who was the director of Outer Worlds 2. Comparatively, Grounded 2 was developed in just 2 years and wasn't fully on the cards until Eidos Montreal pitched the same back in 2023. While Obsidian could look to outsourcing more work in the future, you shouldn't expect it to release 3 titles in the same year again. Quote, "Spacing those releases helps the company manage its resources and not burn everybody out. It's not good to release 3 games in the same year. The result is things going wrong." This is from Josh Sawyer, who's a man that I think we all respect as fans of Fallout New Vegas. So, Obsidian is looking to reduce their development timelines, but we do see here that you spent 6 years to 7 years on Avowed and on Outer Worlds 2, and those games did not do well. Not to the point of dramatic flops, but people did not show up in a way that made these profitable titles. But the game that did well for them was one they spent 2 years on. And that is where this conversation gets a bit tricky, I think, and why I worry about Obsidian moving forward. Obsidian has shipped enough games where they have been taking cracks at all these different IP, and I think that is vital to Xbox's operation. If they're looking for hits only, Grounded has been a bit of a hit for Xbox. That has been reported numerous times. I could see a world where Asha Sharma's looking at the spreadsheet and goes, "Hey, you spent this much on the Outer Worlds 2, this much on Avowed. Combined, they're this much versus 2 years and a contract studio for Grounded 2, which made this much. It was profitable." I could see a world where, again, Grounded started off as one of Obsidian's most successful titles because it was a 13-person team. Is there a world, I don't think they downsized to 13 people, but is there a world where they downsize Obsidian significantly from their like 200+ person staff to maybe half of that and just have them get a little bit more lean? I do think there's a potential reality there, which is why I'm glad that they're avoiding closure. I think closing them would be the dumbest shit of all time. But I do think they're going to get hit pretty hard because they did have 2 significant flops last year. And I don't know if in the Asha Sharma era of hits, shipping counts for much. I think for Phil Spencer, it counted a lot because Phil managed his portfolio terribly. He gave a long leash to all these teams that are about to be shut down now, didn't necessitate the hits that would generate revenue to uplift and subsidize these misses that they're experiencing now. And we see the results that have been handed to Asha Sharma, and she's making some understandable yet very tough decisions. So I'm glad that they're going to avoid closure, but I do anticipate they're going to get hit pretty hard. So how do they get themselves out of trouble here? Well, I went through this theory of using the Outer Worlds 2 systems to build a Fallout video game. And I know it's not exactly a one-to-one thing, but I do think there's enough there from systems and tools and how the games play where different art and a different setting could really change the feel of that and make it a big seller. The question is, number one, if Bethesda would allow it. 2, if Xbox is going to force Bethesda to allow it. 3, if an Unreal Engine-led Fallout is in their best interest. This third one's a bit tricky. We saw things change with Oblivion Remastered. It's saying a lot, I know. But speaking from a texture quality standpoint, that's technically Bethesda's best looking game ever. Bethesda Game Studios. Again, I know with Creation Engine and how games like Fallout 4 look in prior, I know that's not saying much. But Oblivion Remastered, and also, by the way, I should include this. When I say best looking, I'm talking texture quality. I'm not talking art direction, which I do like the original Oblivion more. So maybe Bethesda's ego has been massaged a little bit where here comes Virtuos delivering the best looking, best animated Bethesda Game Studio style title. Does this mean that with a Fallout 3 remaster impending, that maybe we've massaged in a little Unreal Engine Fallout and it's okay to do it this way? Or is this a game that'll just ship because it was part of the old guard? I bring all of this up and questions around Unreal Engine because of number 5 on the Xbox reset list here. Asha and Matt wrote, our current platform infrastructure is not built for battle ahead. Our systems are overly complex, spanning hundreds of dependencies, which hinders our ability to move fast. We've become too reliant on vendors to operate our systems and must become more self-reliant as an engineering culture to build for the future. We must increase the value we ship to players while decreasing the time it takes to do so. Going forward, we'll evolve and rebuild our stack and look at capabilities across all of Xbox and potential mergers and acquisitions to help us win in hardware, PC, mobile, and streaming. Now, it's never outright said, but what I read this as is game engines. Unreal Engine, after you make a certain amount of money, starts taking your cash. And when you combine that with if Xbox is third party, let's say they sell a lot of copies of a game on PlayStation. Okay, Unreal's going to take a split. PlayStation's going to take a split. Xbox gets their split. Developer gets their split. Typically, developer gets the least too. It's crazy. So you see the problem here, right? This money's going so many different ways immediately. You eliminate the engine, you go something more proprietary. Forza Tech, whether it be Forza Horizon, Fable. Okay, now you've cut out that additional slice of the pie, right? Now more money goes back to Xbox. I say all of this because Obsidian could technically, at least I think, build a Fallout game on Unreal Engine 5 with what they've made for the Outer Worlds 2. I have no doubt about that. The question is Xbox interested in that, or do they want Obsidian to run support on Creation Engine? I have this thought process that Xbox is probably taking a look at the Call of Duty sweatshop where it's like, okay, here's Treyarch, here's Infinity Ward, here's Sledgehammer, here's Beanox, who used to make their own games. Remember when they used to make Spider-Man games? Like they made the Amazing Spider-Man games, they made Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, good times. And then here's High Moon, who did games like Transformers. Those companies got folded into the Call of Duty sweatshop, and they support what's going on with Call of Duty, right? They no longer make their own games. I'm thinking of Fallout right now, and I'm thinking of proprietary engines like Creation, which eliminate any sort of additional cuts in your product, because we're seeing what Sony's doing with used games, dude. We're seeing what they're doing with the secondhand games market. They're clearly, every penny matters to all these sides. Doesn't matter who they are, green, blue. So is a proprietary engine making a Fallout game on Creation with Obsidian supporting, who has some level of history using that technology. Granted, we're talking now almost 16 years ago with Fallout New Vegas, but it seems that that technology is trainable to some extent. But if we're trying to maximize income, get off of third-party engines, and you have a team that's tailor-made for this project, would Xbox go forward with making an Unreal Engine Fallout, or would they rather support another team, like a Bethesda Game Studios splintered team, with Obsidian staff kind of helping make a creation-led Fallout game? And that's the standard moving forward. Because one thing we've heard is that Creation Engine 3 is being Unreal Engine-ified. It's looking better. And we'll see. As someone who's not like, I'm not a hater on Bethesda visuals by any means, but like, good Bethesda visuals would make a lot of people on the internet fucking pass out if they actually achieved something that looked like an Unreal Engine game truly. But is that going to equal on a visual level what they would get out of Unreal Engine? And would that result in sales? So Obsidian's path forward, I think, is a little more muddy, because right now, to me, if I'm looking at clear paths, Grounded, I want them to keep making RPGs. I think that's where they should be. I don't think they're going to straight up rip them off of that, but do I see them building around Grounded more than RPGs? Yeah. Do I see teammates that would have been fired from Obsidian maybe supporting another heavy hitter? Yeah, I do. You also have to keep in mind that Obsidian is located in California, which is an expensive place to live, and a lot of these studios being targeted happen to be located on the West Coast, which is where most of the industry is, and it should lead to hopefully more developers embracing building teams in different pockets of the world where it's a little bit more cheap to work out of. But I don't think Obsidian gets out of this unscathed. Not that there hasn't been reports suggesting the opposite. We've heard that every team's going to get hit, but I do think Obsidian might get hit a little harder than people expect, given how well they've done this generation with shipping stuff. So I think their get out of jail free card is clear. The question is, if new Xbox here with this leadership and their reset and trying to create their own engineering stack would allow that path forward. Would Todd Howard allow that forward? Is Asha not playing games with Todd, saying like, you're going to do this? Like, you're going to let them work on Fallout? And that has its own cascading effect. Todd and Phil were boys. What does this new forced friendship lead to? Does Todd say, I'm not long for this world, deuces? The fallout from this, I think, is going to be crazier than the actual shutdowns. That's what I'm expecting. So we'll see where Obsidian lands. I'm thinking of my friends there, though. I love the games that they make for the most part, and I'm hoping that they go by as unscathed as possible, but I'm not holding my breath here. So we'll see what Xbox plans on prioritizing when the time comes, but until then, thinking of Obsidian in the meanwhile. Chat, how are you feeling about Obsidian? I'd love to see if I'm alone on this. I know a lot of people don't give a fuck about Obsidian Entertainment, but I do, so I wanted to talk about them. So hit me with it. Asha needs to be the parent in the room. Tell Bethesda and Obsidian to play nicely. Todd can be taken down a notch. Oh, man. I wonder if Todd's really that kind of stick in the mud like people imagine him to be. Mostly indifferent. Interesting. It's almost comical how nearly every gaming news story is negative nowadays. It's so true, dude. Like, I literally am trying to look for positive stories, but we got none. Yodeling Llama gifting subs here. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Very nice of you. Welcome to the crew, everyone. They'll just make more 76, bro. Please. Please stop. Stop putting that into the ether. Asha, Bethesda, share your toys. Yeah, she's going to son Todd Howard. I don't know how long that goes. I want to know the future of Tim Kane's next game as well. I'd be very keen to see that. Let me just send Emmett some updates, guys. I just want to let him know our upload order. Okay. I bet Avowed 2 is canceled. NC, yeah, like, I don't know. I already didn't agree with the whole Avowed sequel push. I don't blame them for not doing Outer Worlds 3 either. But Avowed 2, like, just taking another swing at that, I don't get it. I really think that was a bad choice. And so we'll see what they decide, but I would not be surprised if that game gets axed. Man, I'm going to be working like every day next week, no doubt about it. There's going to be so much news to cover. Let me get the Skyrim music on. Sorry, guys. Obsidian stops using super bright colors equals rep fixed. I think they just need to make more appealing games. That would be my take. In all seriousness, do we know if Todd is so protective of these IP that he won't let others work on them? If he is, that seems really petty. I'll put it this way. I've never seen proof of it. There's levels of, like, you know, there's rumors enough where you gotta wonder. I know he wants Bethesda to do, like, the next mainline things, and I think that's fine, but, like, protecting them so that, you know, people can't do spin-offs is a little heavy. I don't know for sure, man. There's never been, like, a hard and fast, this is Todd saying this, or this is the report, this is the rumor. But I do think the Obsidian and Bethesda beef is real based on what Chris Avallone shared. Bethesda's sitting down and, like, promoting... or doing that whole, like, PowerPoint presentation, just, like, humiliating Obsidian. I think that's generational beef, bro. I don't think that goes away. I don't know if Todd was sitting in the room when that happened, but, like, I do think the dislike is real, but I don't think he's, like, protective of the IP. If he's the one who's been blocking, though, like, a New Vegas 2 for all these years, then, like, that's fucked up for, like, your audience. I mean, do a typing test for science. A typing test? All right, fuck it. Let's do this. Hang on. Okay. All right. Let's see here. 1 minute typing test. What's your words per minute? Okay, let's find out. The faster you draw. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. It's you have to do the comma. The more fuel you're using, period. 55. Oh, fuck. Mile per hour is the optimum speed on the highway. The fuck? You have to capitalize? Come on now. Are again considering making 55 miles per hour required on all highways in an effort to mandate fuel oh fuck. Oh no. If they do that, you'll be well ahead of the game on some highways in West Texas. What is this shit? You can legally drive 80 miles. Wow, I didn't know that. Miles per hour. Gas mileage drops. Don't lose your progress, but that's not that bad, right? What's the standard? That's not too bad, no? You have to do a comma, he says. You have to capitalize, he says. I'm trying to type fast. Hold on. Run that shit back. The type of garden you choose will depend on several factors. If you live in an apartment, it may be impossible for you to have a large, vegetable garden, no matter how much you may desire. Oh, I'm fucking cooking now. If you, work 60 hours per week. Oh, the numbers slow me up so much, dude. Caring for a very large rose garden could prove to be a little, too much to handle. If you're confined to a wheelchair, taking care of a complex outdoor garden may be a bit beyond your capability. 82. That's pretty fire. That's pretty fire. Give me that shit all day. 82 words per minute. I was cooking at one point there. All right, there you go. $40 to $60 is average. 80 plus is when you're getting okay. Okay, Baxter. Jesus, bro. Sorry, I thought I did all right. Fuck. B's get degrees. What are you guys hitting on the typing test? What's okay, hold on. I gotta look this up. What is considered a high word per minute for a typing test? A high, yeah, fuck you guys. Oh, shit. A high word per minute is, I'm going AI overview. Anything 70 and above with at least 95% accuracy, which places you in the top 10% of typists. I'm in the top 10%. I don't want to hear it. AI said it, not me. I could be, according to AI, I could be a legal secretary. I don't want any more insults about my typing, dude. I just fucking fried chat. Outer still worth playing, loving these streams. Well, thank you, first of all, JJ. I think so. I think if you come in with the right expectations, which is this is a good game, it's got some great moments, its companions aren't very good, but it's got amazing loot, really good shooting, some fun quests, some good humor, some great role-playing. Like, it's a strong game, I think. I enjoyed it a lot. There are parts of it I like more in the Outer Worlds 1. Its exploration is much better. It's just its companions really are like the last part of the problem, I think. So I would personally love to see them do like more DLC. That's the other thing I think might get canceled is Outer Worlds DLC. Apparently the record is 305 words per minute. That's fucking insane. Bryce Neal, thank you for your generous super chat here. What's your best bet on which 6 is most likely to fall short of expectations? GTA 6 or Elder Scrolls 6? This is a deeper question than people realize, because a lot of people are immediately going to default to Elder Scrolls 6, and I totally get why. But GTA 6 is leading this $60 charge, code in box. It's probably going to crash storefronts, make people unable to access their games. I'm just saying there might be a cultural issue. We have yet to see how they're going to handle GTA Online, which may be connected to 6, and that might milk you dry. That said, I think 6... in Elder Scrolls, I should say. I almost said just shorthand. I think Elder Scrolls 6, for obvious reasons. Bethesda's been on the decline. At least Rockstar's last game was generational for people. So I'm gonna go with Elder Scrolls 6. I want that to be flipped, but Bethesda has not really instilled much confidence in me compared to GTA 6. I'm also just thinking by default, people aren't going to think Elder Scrolls 6 will be worth the wait. And it's probably going to be an $80 game, like people are talking about in chat. GTA's expectations, though, yeah, Icecap said it's true. It's insurmountable. There's a level of, like, this is best game of all time energy. And we'll see. Thank you, Bryce, for your very generous super chat, though. I appreciate you guys. Icecap Lord, speaking of which... I wonder how much PS3 winning 7th gen can be seen as a little domino. Sony securing the format wars through Blu-ray kind of allowed this disruption. Thinking deep. Butterfly effect for sure. That generation really did have ripple effects. Like, Xbox shouldn't have stopped producing 360s. That's for damn sure. I legit had an intern ask if I can type without looking at my keyboard. These iPad kids will be the end of Western civilization. Like, how? Yeah, I know, dude. If we're going to go back to, like, this shit, you know, like, this is me typing. Like, we're going to go back to this. We're fucking cooked, dude. We're cooked. Hey, Maddie, thanks for the advice about content creation. I just went viral on 3 different platforms. I appreciate the motivation. There we go. Congrats. I hope you went viral for the right reasons, but congrats, dude. Nerf Ninja is approving of my typing test. See, I passed, guys. When are you doing that Mass Effect run back? Oh, God, dude. The problem I'm having right now is that I can't wait to see the comments on this video, by the way. When the stream goes live and it's archived and everything, like, the amount of people are going to be like, he's burping in his mic constantly. Appreciate y'all hanging with gross version of me. It's pretty chill. The problem I'm having is that I'm looking at all these games coming out from August till about end of October, and I want to play so many of them, and I don't have enough time to play all of them, and I have so many things in my backlog. This year's going to fucking break my back, dude. So I want to do a Mass Effect run back, but, like, when will I have time? I have a desire. I do. Damn, bro. Yeah, like, I would like to do it. I don't know. Sometimes during holiday gaming sessions, like December, I usually just go for something kind of like all for me, and this might be a time. But I've also been missing KOTOR, and I'd play that first over Mass Effect. Mr. Bonsky says, not sure how long I've been subscribed, but sending my flowers to you for your content. I know it's been a long time. Core memory stuff, so thanks. Jesus, dude. Thank you. Core memory. That's cool, man. Thanks. I wonder what core memory it is. Like, it's Fallout 4. It's got to be, right? Like, just like, oh, discovering that together. I feel like that's a core memory for a lot of us. Anyway, thanks for supporting. I appreciate it. Sage of 6 Gats. Hey, Maddie, what will be the point of consoles if they have no disk drives? Prices are whack, and SteamOS is snipping at the heels of consoles' convenience factor and no hassle compared to PC. Favorite YouTuber, love you, dude. Thank you. Oh my God, you guys are so fucking nice, dude. I love this shit. Thank you. Okay, so what's the point of consoles? There is none. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but we can dive into it some more, man. Like, to me at least, the reality is there's no point in consoles because the disk drive and the physical nature of it was the separating quality. If I start to look at these side by side and go, okay, they're both digital. Okay, one has one storefront, the other has as many as are. I can go get GOG, I can get Epic Game Store, I can get Steam, I guess EA Play, I can get the Xbox app. Like, I'm good, right? So if I can access all those stores and many of those games, why would I give a fuck about your one storefront? Your exclusives almost can never be that good, you know, when you start to wall things off that heavily. So I think that's why we are, you know, we saw Asha Sharma kind of flirt with the idea of, like, retracting the idea that there will be multiple storefronts on the next Xbox. I think they're operating the same way PlayStation is. I think they are narrowing. I think they will follow right in their footsteps. I think Helix is going to be more console than PC based on their retooling. But I think the reality is that with that difference minimized, people are going to look at PC and go, okay, I want to do like a one-time big splash that's going to get me what I need for a long period of time, and I'll gradually upgrade that. And that's what I think pulled us all into PC. And I think when you start to see, like, for some people's their ability to own their stuff, thanks to DRM-free games, thanks to storefronts like GOG, I think that'll push some enthusiasts over the line. And I do think for a lot of people, sailing the seas is going to be a big part of it too. You know, I do think that's going to be a big part of it at this point with these companies so aggressively fucking you over, you know? So good question here, but I'd love to see Xbox doing a reverse Uno card. We'll talk about that in a little bit here with our last slop story. But I think that difference is just completely thinned out with no physical. It's like the one thing that I think, and that in price. I'm sorry. The thing that we're missing in this conversation is obviously the price differential, the accessibility. People didn't want to spend $1,000+ on a PC, so they'd spend $500 on a console, get something less powerful but long lasting. Didn't have to really think about it. Now, gaming has grown enough where people are willing to think about it, and also they're like, it's more cost effective to think about it. Modding on PC, that's a good call out. Just a lot of fucking difference makers there. Good question, man. Thank you. I play on N7 Day. I hope we get news this year. will we get news this year? It's Veilguard was 2024, right? I feel BioWare is going to stay quiet for as long as humanly possible. I don't think they have any interest in trying to ramp up any sort of expectations for what's next. I think they will benefit much from the quiet and showing up and just being like, see, it's what you wanted. Do I think that game's going to deliver, though? Probably not. My confidence in them is very low after Veilguard. But I'm still going to pay attention to it. But we're also getting a lot of Mass Effect likes. So now BioWare not only has to be a Mass Effect like, but BioWare also has to beat out Exodus and Expanse, which will be a challenge. And it would be a good look for them if they were the best of the three, because they were the originators of that idea. Crimson Loki says, whoa, to push back majorly on the no point to consoles thing. First, consoles are plug and play. Second, consoles, you never have to worry about your specs. And third, couch gaming. Let's go. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Not considered, but I think people with consoles being plug and play, Steam Machine is catching up on that thanks to Steam OS. That's becoming more and more a reality where you can kind of make your own plug and play thing. Console, you have to worry about your specs. That's fair, but again, Steam Machine is kind of targeting that. These handheld PCs are targeting that well, but that is right now a very strong point. I agree with you on that. Couch gaming, I know a lot of like people like, I think Skill Up, I was talking to him, I think his setup is like a PC running to a big screen. Like a lot of people have built their PCs into a couch gaming experience. But these are good pushbacks. I do appreciate them, Crimson Loki. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. Love you guys too. Machine XP said, would you rather Helix be full PC but be crazy expensive, or full console a lot cheaper but fully supported anywhere on PC? Okay, so basically like the old version, but like I think affordability matters. I'm going to go full affordability. I really do think gaming stagnates without affordability in hardware. You know, like I do think like that's the biggest problem with it all. Affordability of games, affordability of hardware. So yeah, give me the cheaper Helix. I think a lot of people would suck it up if it meant like, oh, it's $600 now. In this dream world, by the way. It's a good would you rather. A lot better than usually the boys give you. Let me get this next rendition of Matty Slop up and running, guys. Let's do this together. Here we go. Last one. All right. Where are my notes at? I always forget to bring them. Okay. Oh, wait, hang on. The GOAT. The GOAT is here. Randall Thor. Giving me money because he feels so bad for me, too. My condolences, Maddie. I know for you. I feel for you knowing the next Fallout will be digital. Oh, no. Dude, Rand is like a fucking sage, dude. This guy has been right about everything. Is why I tell people, like, you gotta listen to Xbox, too. But, like... no one loves twisting the knife on Fallout 5 more than this guy. There's no one who loves just busting my fucking chops about this game. Not only am I not getting it till 2035 probably, but also it's going to be digital only. The last physical copy of a Fallout game I actually held was 76. It was 76, bro. Let that sink in. I didn't get redemption and you didn't either. Man, Rand, why'd you do that? Good to see you, bro. Hope you're well. All right, time for some Matty Slop. Let's do this, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the dawn before the final day. At least as we're posting this, as we're recording this, it's a Friday evening. But as this goes live, it's going to be Sunday. The day before Xbox starts to make some big moves. And we know the axe is falling in a lot of places. Studios being spun off. Companies being merged together. We'll see where it all goes. But one of the big questions I wanted to tackle ahead of this news, and just I'm making it sound like a sport, and I know it's kind of tasteless, but Halo has hurt me greatly these last couple of gens, and I'd like to see some change. So I'd like to look at what's happening with Halo based on the rumors, the information surrounding it, and similar to what we talked about with Obsidian, kind of create some expectations on what's going on here, right? What is exactly happening with Halo, and how invested is Xbox in the future? Well, we know quite a lot, actually. let's start off with a report that really changed how we were thinking about Xbox, because we learned via the information, which was then re-reported by Reuters, that Microsoft was considering spinning off Xbox. Like, that is a whoa headline, and it takes away entirely from one of the major points in this conversation here, which is this quote in the middle. They say Asha Sharma, who took over as CEO in February, plans to increase spending to accelerate development of Xbox titles from its most successful franchises, including Halo, Fallout, and Elder Scrolls, the report says. So a lot of us are wondering, like, hey, what's going on with Halo? It's not going anywhere. What does that mean for Halo Studios, though? Different question. We saw Xbox pull back from a lot of third-party spending lately. They pulled out of Project Fantasy, which felt like a pretty safe bet from the outside looking in. Like, they just launched 007 First Light, huge success. Before that, Hitman, huge success. So it seemed like a good partner to have when funding a game in IO Interactive. They've had great track records. They're not a great publisher, though. IO Publishing, that led to Mind's Eye. So, but they're great game makers. So there's that. And you must be making great games if you're not really having the stain of Mind's Eye follow you everywhere. I digress. Continuing on, with Xbox, with pulling third-party funding, there's always a world where they might be looking at like other developers, not Halo Studios, to kind of work on the Halo franchise, which I think right now is best case scenario. I don't know what you do for mainline, but you could at least hand some spin-offs off. But there's also a rumor mill kind of churning in light of what's happening with Xbox and Obsidian, which then got shut down. Jez Corden posted an article about that. And then when talked about Halo Studios, Jez said they're not in negotiations to shut down Halo Studios, but Xbox is very, very, very heavily evaluating how Halo is run. And some of these cutbacks revolve in allocating resources towards fixing Halo. Watch this space. And in response to another tweet, someone said probably more outsourcing the IP and maybe Halo Studios overseeing it. And Jess said, I think you might be right. I expect more collab from COD Studios here. Let's wait and see. So we know they're looking into Halo heavily. And okay, among everything that is happening right now that has been absolutely terrible within the Xbox family, some of it you can rationalize a little bit, like, okay, a lot of these smaller developers were kind of following marching orders with Game Pass, kind of got caught in the middle of, like, I think getting a little too liberal or with their creative direction. That's going to sound wrong. I'm saying, like, literally running away with, like, the free check and being like, we're going to spend 7 years on whatever the fuck, and we're going to ship like a South of Midnight, and like, that's not going to be finished. And like, oh, but we got to be creative for a long period of time. And that kind of brings the Eye of Sauron down on you, right? There's things that we can rationalize and kind of think like, okay, there's two sides to that conversation. Some people who get like, hey, this is not good for their business. Some who get like the creative freedom. But then there are companies like Halo Studios, which are so deeply mismanaged with the most important Xbox IP. The fact that... I got to bitch about Phil Spencer for a moment. The fact that this dude and his team let 343 run around like a chicken with its head cut off for over a fucking decade with the franchise that put this company in the gaming business in the first place is such a deep disgrace to Xbox legacy. It's unforgivable. It's unforgettable too. The fact that we even got to this point with Halo, where this is a company that couldn't even manage the live product itself. Infinite played very well, but Infinite had no post-launch support. 5 was a disaster, completely mismarketed. 4, fine. It's okay. Its multiplayer died in a couple of weeks. I remember that clear as day. And that was before we were tracking player counts. It was just, oh, no lobbies. Cool. So Halo is in a disastrous position. I do look at this news and go, good. I'm glad they're taking a really deep look at whatever is going on at Halo Studios, because this hasn't even gotten into what was happening with Glenn Israel, who was an art director for over a decade working on Halo, dating back to Bungie, transitioning into 343, being there the whole time, and talking about just how toxic it is at 343. I and many others have heard inside scoops that just like, this place is a fucking shit show, dude. So I am very happy to see this claim from Jez that they are very, very, very heavily evaluating how Halo is run. Now, cutbacks and giving them more resources, what does that mean? Are we staffing up Halo Studios again? They did just change all that leadership. They did change all of that with Bonnie Ross getting sent out. Pierre Hintz, who was kind of spearheading whatever was going on with Master Chief Collection, kind of going to the top of the studio. Is he going to have his spot secured still? We haven't seen a new Halo product from them since Infinite, and that was 2021. And it doesn't seem like there's any sort of nearby mainline Halo title to be seen outside of remakes of a game that's already been released 3 prior times, right? Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Master Chief Collection. And then this month, you're going to get Campaign Evolved, which at least is a very different shot compared to what they had done before. I can give them that much. So what is Halo doing right now? Well, number one, they're trying to do their reverse Sony play here. In a community Q&A, they talked about what happens if I buy Halo at a retail store? Will there be a disc in the box? Yes. Buying the Xbox or PlayStation version at your local retailer will result in you getting the physical game case and disc, so you have tangible items to add to your collection. So obviously a late minute addition there to clearly build on top of what Sony was doing there. One thing not mentioned here that it's like, this is where the brutal awakening's going to hit some of these people. They're like, yeah, okay, cool. Love what Halo's doing. I want to know if the whole data is on the disc. I don't believe for a second it's going to be. I'd be so surprised if a first-party Xbox studio was printing out discs and they had all the data on the disc and they didn't need any day one updates, especially with how buggy shit is, how incomplete shit is for Halo Studios video games. I'd be so surprised if this thing's like content complete on the disc, on the first pass, or sorry, the final pass, the gold version. I'd be so surprised. As a fun little side tangent, Xbox fans want to pivot. Like, people are saying Xbox now is your chance to take advantage of this. Hey, Asha Sharma, if you want to become the number one console, you know what you need to do. It's never been an easier layup for Xbox. Look at all that. People think that this is going to happen. I would love for Xbox to do this. They could do a fun pivot here, and it would be amazing to show how important physical games are. But we see Halo's already starting to lean into it a little bit. Trying to get any W it can. They also announced like a machinima mode and whatnot for this, which I thought did look pretty cool. There's a lot of features in Halo Campaign Evolved that make me kind of divided on the title. Like, there's some stuff that looks really good, some stuff that doesn't look very good. So I think it feels like a mixed bag going in. Now, for the games. First and foremost, what we know when it comes to Halo Studios is that the next Halo game, which is coming out this month, or I should say project, as in not mainline Halo game, but project, isn't really an in-studio project. This is according to Rebs Gaming, and this is reported by Windows Central. They say, according to Rebs, a source familiar with Halo Campaign Evolved's development said a lot of outsourcing was used to create Campaign Evolved, even for core programming and design, so much so that it's not really an in-studio project. So, this is showing Xbox in real time, we don't need you to ship games in this franchise. You outsource the whole thing. And what's so deeply hilarious about this, might I add, is that outsourcing is what fucked over 343 in the first place with Infinite. They tried to outsource so much stuff. They had a proprietary engine with Infinite. They couldn't get anyone on board and train them properly because their contracts would expire. And so the game was just in this perpetual development hell. Pardon me. With that, we now see them shift to Unreal Engine. And we see how that's working in their favor. But you've outsourced an entire project, so what are you doing? Are you doing the next mainline Halo? I hope so. But in the meanwhile, we've got a couple other things that are on the board. One is Project Ecker. But this is co-developed heavily by Certain Affinity. This is from WCCF Tech. They write, YouTuber Rebs Gaming has provided an update on the long-rumored multiplayer project codenamed Ecker. As you probably remember, the creator's earlier reportings from a couple of months ago had described Ecker as an extraction shooter being developed by Certain Affinity. Reb Gaming new video is a correction/update to that claim based on new information. Here's what we got. Ecker originated after the earlier cancellation of the Battle Royale project named Tatanka. They said following the cancellation, Halo Studios began transitioning to Unreal Engine 5, and Certain Affinity was tasked with prototyping Ecker to explore that transition. That project had 2 core technical goals, determining whether Halo Infinite's slip space and blam assets could be imported into Unreal Engine 5, and evaluating whether Unreal Engine could be made to feel like Halo. Both goals were reportedly achieved by June 2023 when Halo Infinite's slip space engine assets and Tatanka's map were imported into Ecker and tested via live fire gameplay sessions involving AI combatants. The source believes that September 2023 was the internal deadline for a full prototype and a green light decision on the project. During this period, an extraction shooter concept was explored consistent with the previous report, but the direction was reportedly shifted towards a large-scale team battle-based concept in which players and their squad of AI teammates explore a map, gather resources, and fight other team players. Some extraction-style elements remain, but the closer conceptual touchstone is cited as Halo 5's Warzone mode, rather than a traditional extraction shooter, and Rebs Gaming describes it as a super big team battle mode. Certain Affinity was also reportedly pitching playable Spartans and Elites with deep character customization, face, body, armor sets, compared to Halo 4's customization style. The second source is a separate longtime contact of the YouTuber who stated that Certain Affinity is not the studio currently developing the next Halo multiplayer project. However, Ecker's existence is corroborated independently as data miner Grunt API previously discovered a test server used by Halo Studios for the project. Specifically, a type of internal test server called Thunderhead server, which was confirmed to be tied to Ecker. Putting the two sources together, the working theory is that Certain Affinity prototyped Ecker on Halo Studios' behalf, but development has since moved in-house to Halo Studios. This is considered plausible given that Halo Studios, then known as 343, underwent major layoffs and received external studio assistance with Unreal Engine transition in 2023 when Ecker's development began. So when it comes to the next Halo story, it's going to be a while, I think. That's why they're just pushing all those books. Ecker is a co-developed effort between Certain Affinity and Halo Studios. So, I mean, this is very common for Xbox teams. This is common for a ton of studios to have these like team up efforts. Like, if you want a really random example, Obsidian is helping make State of Decay 3. So, you know, that's a crazy crossover to me, but like this shit's happening everywhere. But this is the state of Halo. You've got a remake coming up that wasn't even made by your main team, and your main team didn't even prototype their own game and ideas. They had someone else do that for them, and they're doing the manual labor now. And then if you wanted to add one more interesting rumor to the pie of what could be happening with Halo, here's one that I just caught wind of today. This is from Gamerant, but it's really focusing on this tweet here. You read that right. A Destiny-style Halo MMO FPS leaked. I just like... knowing how bad they were at supporting what was going on with Infinite, a Destiny-style game being supported, I could just see this being a train wreck. This comes from Technical Halo, newer source to me, to be transparent. And I've seen some people on like Reddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors saying like, oh, actually like trustworthy. He's gotten stuff right before. But grain of salt with this one, with all due respect. Okay. So here's what he writes. More from this rumor monger. Sea of Thieves to Android /Switch 2. If true, then gives credence to the Halo MMO stuff. Says their source is a Rare employee, but that they used to be a games journalist, which is why they have sources for other things. And then he follows it up saying, a trusted source of mine says the Halo MMO FPS prototype is real. Started prototyping it a few years ago, and that this rumor sounds exactly like it. He says he's seen a video of it. So could this be a world where like, you know, the Halo MMO FPS was like also Ecker? There's a lot of online only Halo stuff, live Halo product stuff going on here. I don't see anything about a new story. And that's because I think the only stories that they're going to give you are the ones that have already been told that they know you like. I do feel like this is an acceptance of Halo storytelling is ass right now. And until they can figure that out, hopefully, here's 2, here's 3 after Halo 1 gets remade. And these are things we know you at least like. And we're going to focus on getting these live products off the ground. And they're going to be rethinking traditional arena-focused Halo multiplayer. But even if this... I'm not even really putting a lot of credence into this one. It sounds like such a terrible fit that I almost don't believe it. Ignoring that, so I don't want to give too much attention to it. You got Ecker, you got a remake. And it seems like Ecker is the main studio project right now. And it's been in development for a while. A while. Right? Start off as a battle royale game. Now it's chasing another trend in something like Warzone, extraction shooter, and it's a big team battle. We'll see whatever the hell it ends up being. But it's got to show up sometime soon, it feels like, because it's been 5 years since we've seen another main thing from Halo Studios. So time will tell, but where does this leave them? I think in a position where they're quite vulnerable. Nothing that's been shipped in a while. You had a lot of players on Infinite. You lost them extremely quickly. You patched it afterwards. You know, you're outsourcing your main projects. How useful are you? It doesn't read like as a player, you're extremely useful. And you also have a bad reputation. To be honest, like there's a whole other element there. Like you just have a terrible reputation. Like people are against this remake mainly because of your association and your lack of understanding of the franchise. So I think my expectations with Halo Studios is I think they're going to get hit pretty hard. And I think this will turn into a studio that oversees Halo, but I don't think works on it super actively. Because if they're an outsourced studio, it's like, okay, you get to be the shepherds of the franchise, but you're going to hand this out to other companies that are going to work on your behalf, because that's already what you were doing. You want to prototype something with Project Ecker thanks to Certain Affinity. Guess what? They're just going to make the whole thing. And you get to be the person they check in with. I could see them turning. I think a lot of people are looking at the kind of Disney model and how like Lucasfilms with their games has handled things, or now Paramount in their game studios handling things where they're taking their IP and finding specific partners. I would not be surprised if Halo found themselves in a similar pocket. Same thing with Fallout, by the way, not just Halo, not just picking on Halo Studios. I think it's going to be for a lot of these big IP, but time will tell. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, where you're at with Halo. My disgust is immeasurable. Oh no, wait, what? Someone in chat just said Rebs just released a video today stating Project Ecker is canceled. No fucking way. Hold on. No way. Oh my God. Reddit gaming leaks and rumors. All right, let's see here. Oh my God. I fucking can't, dude. Let's add it in. All right, we're continuing the slop. Hang on. All right, this comes from Rebs Gaming as well. Halo Project Ecker canceled leaks. After making a few recent Project Ecker leak videos that were getting buzz online, 3 Halo Studios current devs reached out to Rebs just a few days back and confirmed the Project Ecker is now canceled. Devs revealed that Ecker was 100% real and was actively worked on until summer 2025. Its development stalled after Halo Combat Evolved Remake was running into development issues, and a large portion of the Ecker team was forced to move across to Combat Evolved to help. It's unknown whether it was canceled because most devs moved to Combat Evolved, or that they just happened to change plans for the future and Ecker was canceled. This doesn't mean there aren't still multiplayer projects being built. Expect late this year to have a reveal for some of the next multiplayer game. This next part is Reb's own speculation. He thinks that the next MP game is more of a classic Halo game. God Christ, all fucking might. They're going to get hit so hard. They're going to get hit so hard, bro. What a roller coaster, first of all, for this game. But like, think of this is the same thing I just mentioned with Obsidian. The time spent funding this thing, working with external partners, prototyping. It's a battle royale. It's an extraction shooter. It's a big team battle mode, and it's fucking canceled. I don't care, but I'm just like, dude, I'm so interested to see, okay, they have another classic multiplayer game. How many? Then why do you have so many multiplayer-only Halo games in development? Like, so you're telling me the next multiplayer game will be more classic Halo, and you were working on that while working on a big team battle extraction shooter style Halo game, and there were rumors of a Halo FPS Destiny style game. Like, that's incredible on so many levels. Someone said in chat, Halo can't catch a break. We can't catch a break. I guess we're getting the next Halo game during Halo Fest, so at least we'll see whatever's next, and that would line up with the timetable of like, okay, it's been 5 years, so God willing, they're ready to support the hell out of that thing, but we'll see. Everything's canceled though, man. Everything's canceled. That's my addition to Matty Slop. Yeah, but we'll throw that in the fucking... That's so funny. Thought we were good to go. Get both of these over to Emmett. Oh, man. Oh, my don. Oh. My beloved first-person shooter franchise. What is happening? Yeah, exactly. They can never stick to a vision. Incompetence, bro. Disgraceful. Let me get this over to Emmett. Got him all the info. What's your take on Chris Dring getting exposed as being paid by Sony? Shows some of these journalists have an agenda, if you ask me. Well, where is the proof? I mean, I would issue comment if I saw it. Is it like a Twitter thing, or is it like, do we see like a claim, or is it a check actually written? Like, I'm not even trying to defend him. I don't know Chris at all, but like, I'd be interested in seeing this. I will say this: I find it interesting how like the Game Awards is creating this kind of trickle down thing. Like, the Game Awards is, you know, like you have Jeff Keighley at the top, and Jeff Keighley is like co-creating all these parts of the industry that work directly with these game makers. So like games business, or even like, I really like Lucy James a lot, but like Looking for Game, like they're kind of making their own style of media. So I find it all just like a little suspect, or IGN literally owning so much of like media reporting. He thanks Sony for funding the game business on LinkedIn when it was first starting up. Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, I mean, the ethics between like real journalism and games journalism has always been like, it's unfucking believable. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. At least you know. I think that's the most, like, at least you know. It depends how much he directly interfaces with the company too. You know, when YouTubers take sponsorships, like, we never interact with the companies, but people think we do. Like when I get an ad offer for a recent example is I did one for Throne and Liberty, and I never interacted with Amazon once. Like, it was just through my agency, and they never interacted with Amazon. They interacted with another agency. Like, it just, like, so I don't know if he's even talked to them, or they're like whispering things in his ear, but like, I'll just say that I think, I do think that like there's a level of like, I don't know if he's talking with Sony, but it definitely hurts the integrity for sure in his behalf. So I mean, it depends also how much you know this person, like as a creative, I mean, like from a viewer, reader standpoint. And Chris has gotten a lot of stuff wrong in the past before. And he's earned a lot of blowback. So yeah, it's tricky, but definitely like for me, like when I see like people getting, I mean, the press being like, I think of like IGN running their own storefront, for example, and like they like run merch purchases and affiliate purchases, and they partner up with these companies, and it's like, games media is not traditional media in the slightest. Games media is like a marketing arm. You can't bite the hand that feeds you, but in the real world you can. And it's not like you, I mean, you still lose some level of opportunity, but I do think that like games media is a little buddy-buddy with publishers always, so it's not surprising is what I would say. Chris String or not, it's just not surprising. This is all about like relationships and managing those things too. Which is why I just like completely pull out of it. I just don't, as an independent, I just choose to trust my audience. It's, I think it's the best thing you can do nowadays. It's just like, we're all sharing the same pool of information. We're all playing the same games. We all have the same shit. Like, all you've got is your morals at the end of the day. It's all you've got. If you can keep that squared away, you're good. Thoughts on the potential console features that would get you excited for Helix? Maybe something unexpected like TV Pass through Kinect or Xbox One, or on Xbox One. A disk drive? You know? Is that a boring answer, J-Ring? I'm sorry. Disk drive would get me excited. Good refund policy. Yeah, you know, just a little things in life. That's all I ask for. That'll go a long way with me. I guess smart delivery again would be good if we're going to go, you know, Xbox standard games to Helix games. Chris has been caught a gazillion times running defense for PlayStation. People have documented it for years now. It's wild, wild. Okay, I mean, yeah, if that's the case, then yikes. Yeah. If that's the case, then, you know, I don't want to speak, like, offhand until I have, like, it in front of me. But, like, if so, bad. Not good. No Xbox Live requirement would be a sick feature. I agree. That'd be a good one, too. Ugh. Anyway, guys, let me, I feel bad for splitting so soon after I'm done recording on the slot, but let me go because I am, well, we've been going for 3 hours. Okay, maybe I don't feel as bad. I thought I'd been going for less than that. Let me ditch, though, because your boy is feeling like ass. I want to blow my nose. I want to go lay on the couch now. I'm a little cooked still, so I'm hoping I'll feel better by the end of the weekend, but, I appreciate you all being here. Thanks for hanging out. I know it hasn't been a great week in news, and just to brace you all, next week won't be much better either. But I appreciate you being here and hanging out. And so we'll be here, same bat time, same bat channel. So thanks again for hanging. And we'll talk whatever the hell's happened with Xbox after all the layoffs come Tuesday. And then Friday we'll be back again. You know, we'll be back for. I realized I didn't address. Yeah, I was gone for a while. I was gone for I was on vacation and stuff. But you don't have to worry about that again until end of August is when I'll be gone again, and we'll have less streams. But otherwise, thanks for being here. For those of you celebrating the 4th, have a great holiday, and we'll talk soon. Mwah. Hugs and kisses. Goodbye.